Oh shit, it's happening. Oh shit, it's happening. Oh shit, it's here. Oh my word.
It seems like only yesterday, and by yesterday I mean August,
Well, you
that
know,
we
we
last did this.
we had to go through the list of the things which specifies there has to be a 6 foot. Sorry, no, 600,000 foot distance between the three of us. Um,
Sounds about right.
at least, so we're good.
So, welcome to the official start of the 2021 award season here on Popcast Network. My name is Owen. If you did not know by now, and joining me as always, we have the ones that actually know the things that you need to know in order to do things like this, and like me, which doesn't do anything because I'm just kind of there, especially this season. And that's going to be Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, dynamite drop in there, Donnie there. And AJ.
Yeah, I'm just as thrilled as Ashley.
Yes.
Well, you
I'm,
know,
dri- I'm drinking remnants of snack.
the bastards are making it hard for us. We've got like awards every week for practically 7 or 8 weeks, and all the nominations are coming in. And BAFTA actually bothered to put out this year a long list, so I now have an actual list to work off of in terms of like not just predictions from other people on the internet. I've actually got a fifth, like every category on the BAFTAs has got 15 roughly.
Well, as a wise Tom Hardy once said, that comes later.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that a little bit later on. But today we're going to start with the first video, and the first podcast of the season is going to be talking about the Spirit Awards, of course, almost dead last. We always do predictions way, way too early, and that'll probably happen again this season, but not right now. We're doing the Golden Globes, and we're also going to do the Screen Actors Guild Awards. Now, this is not predictions. That video comes later as well. These are discussions, and they're going to be a discussion between all three of us and the ones that are joining us live in our chat. So what do we have here? Well, I'm going to try to my best to keep up on the chat here. So we have Mr. Top Hat and Bry Guy are back. I see Smurfy Boy's back. It's nice to see the three of you guys are joining us again in chat. Thanks for everyone for joining us live here on a Saturday afternoon here on the East Coast for me and AJ, and of course Ashley. I don't know what time it is. I'm guessing it's probably some sort of in the morning, maybe, or evening.
8 in the evening.
I'll get this eventually. That's not terrible. Brad Guy says, I feel like we're still in 2020 with the virus, politics, and the amount of celebrity deaths. I don't want to talk about Steve Carino today for any reason. And I definitely don't want to talk about politics, but I do want to talk about the third thing that we talked about, and that's the fact that we'd be remiss if we did not mention a lot of things. And before we get started, Ashley and AJ and I have already had this conversation. There's only 4 letters that need to be said right now. R.I.P.T. Yes, Christopher Plummer passed away very recently. Recently isn't yesterday. So yes, and I don't know if you guys and girls out there that are longtime viewers of this channel remember the movie The Last Station, where Christopher Plummer noticeably had some tea in a scene. And when AJ and I watched that scene, I believe it was at the Athena Cinema, we looked at each other, and right then and there, we realized that from this moment forward, he would join, just like I like to say about Alfred Molina. No matter what they do moving forward, they will be remembered for that one thing and that one thing only. So if you heard us mention tea when all the money in the world was doing things in the award season, or not doing things in the award season, depending on who you ask, that's who we were talking about. And I know, obviously, the immediate thing I would jump to, because it's me of all people, would be Up. But at the end of the day, just like Molina's the Spaniard, I would have to say that Plummer will always be T. So that's the reason why we wanted to start this with literally R.I.P.T.
Well, okay. In case that seems weird, basically what it was we were kind of having a laugh at the fact that the movie just seemed very British.
Extremely
And,
British. No offense,
the
Ashley.
Plumber seemed very British, which is really funny because a lot of people would often mistake Plumber for being British when he was actually Canadian.
Yeah.
So the whole thing makes no sense.
He did a pretty good British
So
accent.
I've heard a French Canadian.
He did a pretty good British accent as well in I saw it over Christmas because it had its premiere. The Man Who Invented Christmas, when he was Scrooge in that.
Yeah.
And of course,
So yeah, there's a lot of things that
on social. Basically, all I saw on social media is the one thing most people remember him for is ripping a Nazi flag apart in The Sound of Music.
absolutely.
The added irony. Jean Bayliss, the actress that played Maria in the original West End production, who did actually audition for the movie, also died yesterday in
Wow.
in Birmingham at sort of the age of 88. So, and the added irony, she went to Broadway to take over from Julie Andrews for one of the roles that she was going off so she could do a movie. So they were that intertwined sort of for the early years of their stuff. But yeah.
What really sucks about this is not only just kind of losing a legend, but the fact that we've lost so many legends in like the last week.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that Plumber was like Knives Out was just out.
Yeah, totally.
When Knives Out was out, everybody was talking about how great it was that he's like still so active at the age that he's at, and he was so healthy. And it's like when you hear about the way that he died, it just kind of makes it even more tragic because he was healthy.
It's what happens. It's just craziness to think about it. And to put everything in perspective, it's been since August when we've done this. You got, unless you've been watching Sip and Snack videos, you haven't seen me on camera in forever. And AJ, of course, is on camera all the time. Ashley is on camera every once in a while. You don't see me at all. And there's kind of a reason for that. But the thing is, and it's not a grand reveal of this or anything, I will stress right now that we just want to issue the entire network's condolences to everyone and their families who had passed away in the time that we've been gone to now. Mm-hmm. And that's the best thing I can say.
Also, just one more thing to note on Plumber. Just if you haven't or if you have, now's a really good time to go back to The Insider. Because that was like one of the... Because there was that, and then it was 10 years later that The Last Station happened, and he got his first Oscar nomination. And it's funny, we talked about The Last Station kind of in jest, because The Last Station was pretty much him having a whole new career at the late age that he was, that kind of propelled him into eventually his Oscar win, and then, All the Money in the World and Knives Out and all that other stuff that came out just in this last decade. And it was like a whole... Anybody would love to have the career he had just in the last 10 years of it, let alone how far back it goes. Also worth noting that Michael Caine being the last man standing of the Man Who Would Be King cast.
Wow. And to put a cap on everything before we get into this season, and I go into the chat because I see there's lots of stuff in chat already, which you guys never let me down when I'm trying to keep up on chat. At the end of the day, the last thing that needs to be said, thank you for everybody's contributions to cinema in Hollywood, and it's going to be a really rough in memoriam this year.
And we're still in the first week of February.
It's crazy. Well, and you know what that means. Mm-hmm. It's time. It's time to kick off this award season properly. So, welcome, chat. First off, we're going to get started here. Smurfy Boy says the donkey has returned. Yes, we do need a new meme. That's what Bry Guy said.
I mean,
we will get one. Don't worry.
With this now.
Oh God, you have one already?
Sort of, because it only came to mind because Big Short and Foxcatcher were literally on within like a week or two of each other on BBC TV over here. So I actually got my dad to actually watch it.
I'm intrigued.
So, and I had to do some bloody good searching on the filmography a certain Steve Carell, we now have the Wall of Mark. There it is. We've got Mark Baum. We've got Mark, the guy from Welcome to Marwen. We've got the elusive Mark. And then apparently he plays Mark in Space Force as well. And one of the minions in the first Despicable Me is called Mark. So there we go. The Wall of Marks. I can't find any other people. I mean, technically Mark Wahlberg as well, but that isn't his character name, so I didn't allow it. But there we go. The Wall of Marks.
And and other than Photoshop, he does literally have the same facial expression in nearly every single picture in this Wall of Mark.
Even in the Minion one, and then it's not him. Oh,
it's true.
Mr. Top Hat triggered me. Yeah, Hot Damn
Top
still
Hat says
there.
if this were a regular...
Hot Damn's still there.
Yeah. That was the last time we all were together on camera, actually, strangely enough. Top Hat says if this were a regular year, we'd already be talking about official Oscar nominations by now. Yeah, this is true. Critics' Choice are tomorrow. Yeah, that's also true.
I'll go through
Which, don't worry, that's
through
coming.
I'll go through the calendar before we actually get to the other awards, because, boy, is it congested.
I did that a little bit ago, and I've got a lot of frustration because of the fact that I don't know how we're going to cover it, but we're going to do Popcast moving it forward every Saturday and fill in the blanks as we get to other things as well. So I'm throwing that out there right now. Mm-hmm. So this channel has been basically Voices of Liberty and AJ centric, and it's going to stay that way. Don't get me wrong. However, I'm bringing Sip and Snacks back. I'm going to start doing unboxings probably starting in March. And Ashley's coming back with more content. And yes, every single week you can guarantee, at least for the award season, a Saturday Popcast, whether it's going to be at 3, 5, 7, 9, doesn't matter when, it's going to happen, no matter what, unless circumstances prevent it from happening.
Sometimes
and then, of
Sunday,
course, Popcast.
Sometimes Sunday as well, depending how we're going to do the schedule in terms of reacting to awards.
Yeah, we're going to be doing live reactions for the Oscars as always, and we're going to be doing after the show reactions to the ceremonies as well. I don't think we're doing Spirit Awards because they're too hard to try to watch. But everything else should be covered to do SAG. Go ahead, AJ.
Our pre-show thing on Oscar Day is usually when we touch on the Spirit Awards outcome, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is correct. Will be your second screen experience for the Oscars again this year, no matter what you want to call the ceremony. So, Top Hat says Sonic for Best Picture. I mean, depends on which award body you're talking about.
I still stand by Bad Boys for Life for picture.
Oh, dear God. I haven't watched enough movies to justify saying anything.
Hang on, I need to verify if that still was like the biggest grossing film of last year.
That wouldn't shock me. So Alfred Molina is well overdue for an Oscar nomination, says Smurfy Boy. Again, I'll say this right now. I said it before when we were talking a little bit ago. If this happens down the line, he's still always going to be the Spaniard Maverick. And like I told AJ, if there's any sort of posthumous video about his entire career that comes to fruition, and there is not a scene from Maverick saying, "You're not going to get your card," I'm going to be seriously angry.
If you take out
Top Hat says
if you take out China, the only 4 sort of like Western films which are in the top 10 grossing are in this order. Number 1 would be Bad Boys for Life, followed by Tenet, followed by Sonic, followed by Doolittle.
I've seen one of those movies, and you can decide which one it was. AJ knows the answer to this question. He's the only one that does.
No, I was just thinking back to Doolittle, and then my brain just shut down. I didn't even hear what you said.
Yes, so did mine. Why do you think I went like?
Top Hat says I put Maria Bakalova as a joke at the beginning of this, and now she's a front runner. Hee hee. Top Hat says I just found out that T voiced Charles Munson up. That's the reason I made the reference. What an energetic performance. And Bry Guy says we need to do an Oscars rewind. And by Oscars Rewind, Bry Guy, obviously we're talking about I moderate Ashley and AJ kibitzing back and forth about the Oscar ceremonies because I'm totally not in that conversation whatsoever.
I like a specific year or what?
Give us some more context, Brian, because this might be something. We're always looking for new content on the network, so yeah, let's start our award season, shall we?
So yeah,
everyone that is here listening.
Go ahead.
Everyone here listening to our voices here that's live in our chat, feel free to leave a comment in our chat, and we're going to obviously interact with you guys and girls out there because I'll shoot with you 100%. Full transparency, you guys push the show along most of the time, and we appreciate that greatly. You get us to think about things we haven't thought about, and you give us your predictions and your thoughts, and we greatly appreciate that. So yes, continue to do so. So I think we're going to start with a show real quick that is the one that ends up being almost dead last, the one that we do predictions for way too early, and by the time we actually get to the award ceremony, it's kind of like, this might not have been a good idea to predict this because now this, and this has happened, and now it doesn't matter. Well, this award ceremony doesn't matter because it's in the tent. But needless to say, I probably should talk about that. Oh, Brian says, go ahead.
What's also interesting to note about the Spirit Awards is how they're the first ones we hear about. One of the first ones we hear about.
Right.
So they kind of go their own way, nominations wise.
Yes.
But then when their wins come around, almost all their wins are bandwagon based. So it's this weird reversal by the beginning of the year and the very end of the year.
There is an
season, whatever you want to call it.
There is an interesting little twist I've just noticed. Thanks, Wikipedia. This year's Independent Spirit Awards are on a Thursday. They're moving from the Saturday.
No. No, that's not true. Don't look at Wikipedia. I look at the fact that I have the calendar in front of me, and it is the 24th.
Well, deadline from January 22nd.
And they moved it up to the...
Great.
Okay, hold on.
Thanks, Wikipedia. Somebody's wrong.
No. It's there. It's just apparently we buried the lead somewhere that it's going to be on the 22nd.
Yeah, April the 22nd.
Not the 24th.
Which is a Thursday.
Yep.
So,
that's interesting. We will definitely not be doing that show live. Nope, not even close. We'll talk about the Spirit Awards on Sunday like we always do when we do our pre-Oscar telecast Popcast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Spirit Awards or Critics' Choice? Who is the true bastard child of award season? Because they keep kind of treating that title.
I mean, let's be honest.
Gotham.
Let's be honest, I'd say it has to be now the Critics' Choice, considering they literally did the Super Critics' Choice Awards about 3 weeks ago, which is basically just genre stuff, apparently, which I was getting confused about, because it's like they literally had an animated feature film there, and it's like, so are we going to bother with not having an animated feature for the Critics' Choice, like, proper awards, because you literally just gave it out?
So they were basically trying to do that when the Oscars almost gave like blockbusters their own category or whatever the hell that was.
Hang on, let me get this.
We killed that. Thank you very much. And I will always stress this. We killed that category with our podcast that we did. Do not tell me otherwise.
The Critics' Choice. The Critics' Choice Super Awards were mainly sort of, at least in movies, sort of sci-fi, fantasy, horror, action, and animated. So sort of like trying to be mainstream enough rather than just be the art house stuff.
So you're telling me that basically they turned into the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards?
To some extent, I'd probably say yeah.
Well, that's a thing.
Plus, the Critics' Choice Television Awards, because they actually put the nominations out for that. The film stuff doesn't come out till Monday. One of the things is best short form content. 4 of the 6 nominators are Queeby. That aged well.
Okay. So Brian says, now, like the last awards podcast, I talked about the Best Picture nominees I missed and gave my thoughts. Yeah, that's probably going to happen in a couple years when I don't watch anything this season. So I don't know. There's a lot of things I need to catch up on. I've literally watched one movie, and of course, because it's me we're talking about here, we know which one it was, and I'm
Cats again.
happy to talk about that later on today. Never saw it. Animated nominees of 2019. Bry Guy, that might happen sometime down the road if I need content. I won't even lie.
To be fair, to think if they delayed Cats...
It's a good idea.
If they delayed Cats by 12 months and actually, put effort into it, it might have actually clean swept everything this year. Hindsight, everybody. Hindsight.
Yeah, that works so well for In the Heights, too.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when Critics' Choice... Go ahead, Ash. AJ, speak.
Well, I was just gonna say, just kind of as a general thing, I lost track of what was supposed to be this year and what's been pushed to next year or whatever.
I don't care anymore. Just bring it out.
A lot of people have been complaining that this is some sort of like shitty scraps we're being left with. But number one, a lot of these are really good. And trying to remember what all was pushed or what we were supposed to have this past year, I don't know that they would look that different than they do now. The only thing I can think of is maybe instead of the United States of Billie Holiday, would be looking at that Jennifer Hudson, Aretha Franklin thing. It'd be one generic biopic for the other. That's like, unless I'm forgetting something major. I don't feel like they'd look any different than this anyway. Except,
remains to be seen.
I doubt Leto would be as prominent as he is, because that would have just been a January 2021 movie. But, yeah.
Murphy Boy says, remember when Critics' Choice went with Beale Street and adapted? WGA went with Can You Ever Forgive Me, causing concern and adapted screenplay that year.
Vaguely.
Yeah, definitely.
So much has happened.
A West Side Story, says Brian.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Would have been a possibility.
That had other issues, though, didn't
I
it?
know. What, that it stars Ansel Elgort?
Yeah.
Dear God.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Also, was it's people were talking about how, you know, a West Side Story remake could be just a massive failure, like almost to like Cats, not to Cats level, but just kind of hated in general. But I don't know, the fact that Spielberg has always wanted to do a musical and how much I love West Side Story. Am I just wrong for being excited for that?
Not at all.
I mean, it always has potential.
Brian says. Yeah. Brian says it would be Respect the Hudson movie. Smurfy Boy says Amy Adams' Woman in the Window was supposed to come out this year. Everybody thought she'd finally win her Oscar. And she may get nominated. Who knows? Well, guess we'll see. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Who knows?
Well, that was probably until Tracy Letts talked about it and made it sound not so promising. But because Tracy Letts wrote it, and then he came out later and said, I don't know what the hell happened, but it's not the movie I wrote.
Ooh, that's not good. Okay, so again, we're going to be doing a lot of content moving forward, so prepare yourselves because there's going to be a lot of things to watch. And regular viewers, don't forget, you still have the regular content you're going to get every single week on the network, but now you're getting award show content as well. So lots of cool things coming for you guys for the next several months here on the network. So let's get to the Film Independent Spirit Awards, shall we?
They're the only ones I don't have in front of me.
Shall we get to the easy two first?
All the ones that have already been given out?
Pretty much, yeah. So the Robert Altman Award is going to One Night in Miami.
Which makes perfect sense.
And then the Best Ensemble Cast, because now they're doing television, is I May Destroy You. that one that came up thanks to the Globes, but we'll get to that. Which is an interesting one. So I'd say that the more significant one is the John Cassavetes Award. So the nominees for this one, we've got Killing of Two Lovers, La Leandra Negra, Lingua Franca, Residue, and St. Francis. I'm pleased to see that somebody realised that St. Francis exists, because I really enjoyed that film, and yet everywhere else I've seen no mention of it.
So what happens at the Cassavetes Award? We've had some very interesting things come out of that nomination in the past years. Our guy says Dune and AJ Wants a Quiet Place Part 2. Yeah. Water is wet, 4th month of the year. We know how it works. All right. So that's Cassavetes. We have the Producers Award as well.
Yeah. Cara Durrett, Lucas Wackin. I'm going to say that just because of the Phoenix connection, and Jerry Kim. We've also got the Someone to Watch with David Medell, Ekra Masangi, and Annie Silverstein. And then the Truer Than Fiction Award, which is the non-fiction sort of feature director. Cecilia Alderondo, Elegance Bratton, and Elizabeth Lowe. I have to see what films it is that it's referring to for them, because it doesn't seem to be listed. So then the other television categories. Best New Scripted Series has I May Destroy You, Little America, Small Axe, A Teacher, and Unorthodox, which is a strong list. Then Best New Non-Scripted or Documentary Series, Atlanta's Missing and Murdered, The Lost Children, City So Real, Immigration Nation, Love Fraud, and We're Here.
It's really nice.
Oh, go ahead, AJ.
It's kind of nice to be getting. What is that?
I don't know. It's coming from Owen. He's too quiet. Uh-oh.
It's called dead silence because I have no idea what to say right now because I'm just sitting back and waiting to be able to talk.
He's picking up the sound
was
of
I the
your
only person
AC too
that?
much.
I was gonna say it's nice now to get some confirmation on Small Axe, because I heard so many different things about it. I had heard that it obviously was going to go the miniseries route, but then I also heard there were some people that were counting it as 5 individual movies.
That's the problem. It technically is, because certainly Mangrove and what was the other one that they had at the London Film Festival? I can't remember the list of them. One of the other ones was also done sort of as a film sort of festival thing, as a release. So technically they could be classified as film, but the problem is certainly the Globes are recognizing them solely as a television miniseries because that was its sort of main purpose. But because of the way it was released, technically it can be eligible at the Oscars for... God, if it wins Golden Globes and Oscars for 2 different bloody mediums, that's going to be crazy.
Sort of like how when Behind the Candelabra went to the BAFTAs.
Because over here it was released as a cinema release rather than as a television movie. Yeah. So yeah,
Continue.
For the new scripted series, they have male and female categories. So we have in the males, Adam Ali, as well as Confidants for their roles in Little America. Nico Anam for P-Valley. Amit Rahav for Unorthodox, and Harold Torres for 000. And then for female performance, Ellie Fanning for The Great, Shira Haas for Unorthodox, Abby McKenney for Work in Progress, Maitreya Ramakrishnan for Never Have I Ever, and Jordan Kristen Simon for We Are Who We Are. I'm a little surprised there is no recognition for Michaela Cole, but considering she's getting Ensemble Cast and she pretty much wrote it and partly directed it, maybe she's getting enough of a rub because of the Golden Globe snub, which we'll get to.
I guess when they do, like when they gave One Night in Miami the Ullman, doesn't that mean that it's not eligible for anything else? Thinking that's how it worked.
Yeah, I don't see it nominated in any of the other
It's
categories.
nowhere to be found on the lineup.
I'm trying to remember if that was the same from last year. Last year was won by last year's Marriage Story. Yeah, so I guess that's the thing. If you get the Altman Award, you don't get anything else.
Sunset Boulevard's supposed to come out this year, Smurfy Boy asked.
Maybe.
What did they do? Remake it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Glenn Close version of Sunset Boulevard.
Let me see. I don't see it listed as 2021.
This is the Sound of Detective work at its very finest, ladies and gentlemen.
At least on Wiki, because it could have easily got delayed. I have no clue. It says a lot when the only news is Glenn Close is in it from 2019, so it's nearly 2 years old, the news. It's still in pre-production.
Oh, by the way, if you guys are hearing these like blips every once in a while on my end, it's because of this Discord server that we're using right now is constantly annoying and beeping me. So I don't know how to turn that off. That's the reason why it's going to be like this for the rest of the season. Okay. So yeah, my apologies in advance.
I'll be able to tell you how to turn off the beepy boops for any other Discords that you follow in. Don't worry.
Right. That would be a very useful thing to know. Next! Get away from TV. We don't need TV awards and spirits. Come on, people. Jiminy Christmas.
If I May Destroy You actually gets recognition, I'd appreciate that. Hashtag Golden Globes TV, so white. Anyway, Best International Film. From Brazil, we've got Bacurau. From India, The Disciple. From Ivory Coast, Night of the Kings. From Hungary, here's the contender for longest film release of the year, title of the year. Preparations to be tougher for an unknown period of time. And from Bosnia and Herzegovina, Quo Vadis Aida.
Yeah, Preparations now gets the Fiona Apple Award for way too long title that I'm not going to say the entire thing, the entire season.
When we get to the Globes, we have to say the full title for Borat.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't mean subsequent movie film. I mean the other title.
Isn't that technically the actual...
Borat 2 Electric Boogaloo, come on.
I think at least for this time I will actually bother to try and go for it. Just for the giggles and the shits. Best
editing.
Best editing, we've got Andy Canny for Invisible Man, Scott Cummings for Never Rarely Sometimes Always, Mirari Garima for Residue, and at CD for I Carry You and Me, and Chloe Zhao for Nomadland. On cinematography front, Jake Keitel for She Dies Tomorrow, Xavier Kirshner for Bull, Michael Latham for The Assistant, Helene Louvar for Never Rarely Sometimes Always, and Joshua James Richards for Nomadland.
I believe Bull is going to be one of those movies where the Spirit Awards always have at least 1 or 2 movies a year that we won't actually see for like another year or two. It's nobody has had any idea how it got here.
Despite the fact it was screened at the Cannes Film Festival in 2019. So it's taken years enough to get out of Cannes, yet alone beyond this. Great. For documentary feature, we have Collective, Crip Camp, A Disability Revolution, because I'm going to give it its full title. Dick Johnson is Dead, Time, and The Mole Agent. Some of those titles, especially Mole Agent, I'm intrigued as to what that is about.
I'm sorry, but I just have to know, what is Dick Johnson is Dead?
From the looks of it, it's directed by Kirsten Johnson, and the story focuses on her father who suffers from dementia, portraying different ways, some of them violent. Some of them violent accidents in which he could ultimately die. What? This? Please tell me.
This sounds very intriguing.
Yeah.
Best first feature.
40-year-old version. God, you have to be careful how to say that. I Carry You With Me, Miss Juneteenth, 9 Days, and Sound of Metal. Then debut screenplay, Kitty Green for The Assistant, Noah Hutton for Lapsis, Channing Godfrey Peoples for Miss Juneteenth, Andy Ciara for Palm Springs, and James Sweeney for Straight Up. Best general screenplay, Lee Isaac Chung for Minari, Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman, Eliza Hittman for Never Rarely Sometimes Always, Mike Makowski for Bad Education, and Alice Wu for The Half of It.
There's some really nice shit in there.
It's weird seeing Bad Education there, though, because technically, wasn't Bad Education actually an HBO TV movie? But because of everything, it became sort of quote-unquote HBO Max before that even existed. Hence why it's a film.
Yeah, because isn't it nominated at USC Scripter?
I believe so, yeah.
Which is amazing.
All right.
So then to the supporting category. So supporting female, we have Alexis Chikese for Miss Juneteenth, Hanye Ri for Minari, Valerie Mahaffey for French Exit, Talia Ryder for Never Rarely Sometimes Always, and Yun Yu Jing for Minari. In the supporting male, Coleman Domingo for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Orion Lee for First Cow, Paul Rackey for Sound of Metal, Glyn Turman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and Benedict Wong, hell yeah, for 9 Days. It's weird seeing that guy. It's weird seeing Benedict Wong going from like British, like very little known comedy shows in 2000, and now he's like Hollywood sort of everybody wants him. It's proof it can be done. Yeah. Then again, why am I saying that? The same happened with the Olivia Colman, and she's already got the Oscar. So,
before we go into leading, Brad Guy says either Chloe Zhao sweeps Best Director, or the voters are sexist and racist just because they will say she comes from the country that started the virus. No offense. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
To be
Brad Guy also talks about. That's what this segue. We're rolling it in. It's going right past that. It was mentioned. That's all it needs to be said. We're done. A Street Gang, a Sesame Street documentary coming out. Yes, please.
Yeah,
I'm good with that. Brad Guy, that's not who I have winning Best Director, but we'll get to that later.
I was blessed on my timeline with finding out that apparently Big Bird has like a international cousin called like Alberto or something. which is like I approve.
Alberto.
It's something. I think it's like Big Bird in sort of a foreign language, but it's made to sort of be like a name. It's like
the character from like Super Mario 2.
It's like a Big Bird costume, except he's sort of got like a parrot style beak, rather than Big Bird sort of like triangular beak.
Well, I did watch Eeyore do the entire choreographed dance to Captain EO. We are here to change the world today, so anything's possible.
My word. Best female lead, Nicole Beharie for Miss Juneteenth, Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Sydney Flanagan for Never Rarely Sometimes Always, Julia Garner for The Assistant, Frances McDormand for Nomadland, and Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman. That is a strong list.
I love how many times I've been hearing Julia Garner's name this whole season already.
Yes.
And then probably just as strong a list in the males as well. Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Adarsh Gurra for White Tiger, Rob Morgan for Bull, and Stephen Yeun for Minari.
I heard some. I had no idea what the White Tiger was, and then like as soon as it came out, I started hearing like really good things about it. And that was like last week or something.
Well, you know, when it's I'm trying to remember what the director did of White Tiger because I recognise the name. 99 Homes. It's the Michael Shannon connection. Oh, but he also did Fahrenheit 451, the HBO series. Okay, not as great. Best director, we have Lee Isaac Chung for Minari, Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman, Eliza Hittman for Never Rarely Sometimes Always, Kelly Reichardt for First Cow, and Chloe Zhao for Nomadland.
That's weird that First Cow's not here more.
Well, I'm trying to remember. Didn't Kelly get the? Hang on, I need to go back to last year because I'm pretty sure Kelly Reichardt got the award last year or something. That name rings a bell. Yeah, she won the Bonnie Award last year for recognising mid-career women directors with a body of work that demonstrates uniqueness of vision and a groundbreaking approach to filmmaking. So in essence, we should have seen at least this award coming, considering how they gave her something to do with it 12 months ago. Speaking of,
She is great. I loved it. I didn't care for Meek's cutoff like all people did, but I loved certain women. I think she did Wendy and Lucy, the one with Michelle Williams and the dog. Yeah.
I just read that just a second ago while you guys were talking.
And then on the best feature, the list is First Cow, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Minari, Never Rarely Sometimes Always, and Nomadland.
Yeah, so they make a little more sense than they usually do.
Yeah. Also,
but yeah, that's going to be
just like Us, I guess, from... Was that last year or 2 years ago? I think Us was 2 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure Never Rarely Sometimes Always was a February or March release last year. And it's staying in recognition for even with the major awards, I would say. At least being in contention, so that's good to see.
All right, so we transition from one award ceremony that's at the very end of the season. And now we're going to go into the one that is secondary after that. And we're going to end with the Globes because I think that makes sense to me that we're going to end with the Globes today. Let's go into SAG right now.
So, might as well go through the television stuff first. So, on the outstanding actor in TV, movie, or limited series, because they don't have anything relating to sort of Ensemble Cast stuff, we have Bill Camp for The Queen's Gambit, David Diggs for Hamilton. Okay. Hugh Grant for The Undoing. Ethan Hawke for the
hold on.
Okay.
I don't like the sound of that. Okay, what kind of tone was that? Why are we not celebrating?
Golden Globe put it in film, so why is it in the SAG as television? That's why I'm confused.
Okay, so you're good with W. Diggs being here?
No, yeah, it's just the fact that Hamilton is somehow included as a television performance when it was put on Disney Plus. Does that mean Soul is television? Considering it was only on Disney Plus?
It's in theaters.
I'm making a point.
I can confirm it's in theaters.
And also Mark Ruffalo, for I know this much is true, which was the big, I guess, surprise winner when it came round to the Emmys.
I just had a Family Guy moment right there. Like we put over Diggs super huge and everything. We were talking about, and then we kind of like glance over like Bill Camp and Hugh Grant, Ethan Hawke, and it's like, and the Conway Twitty moment goes to Mark Ruffalo. So,
well, Mark Ruffalo got the Emmy. So. Go ahead, AJ.
And we've circled back to Foxcatcher already, so we're good to go. Next.
A few things I need to say about acting here. Obviously, you see who I'm passionate about, because that was the first thing, was when there was talk when Hamilton first came out of, is it going to be movie eligible or Oscar eligible or not? And there was a brief period there where everybody thought that it was. And my immediate first thought was, okay, this W. Diggs thing needs to happen if that's the case. But I'll take this. Obviously, there's a lot, because of the way things were over this year. There seemed to be a lot more event TV than usual. Like nearly everything that came out was what everybody fucking talked about. Like, and you can look at that with like The Queen's Gambit and The Undoing. And I haven't watched The Undoing yet, but I absolutely plan to. But I did take a stab at something. Okay, so I'm not the only one that hears that, right?
Yeah. Owen, because you're not saying anything, it's picking up, your mic's so sensitive, it's picking up like the AC in your place.
It's not on, so that's not even an option.
Well, whatever it's picking up like the background humming. I don't know.
It's nothing I can do about it.
Anyway, we'll just have to get Owen to randomly shout every 20 seconds to offset it so AJ can speak. Go ahead.
Let's take a turn up.
So I took. I don't want to piss off the whole world or anything. Mm-hmm. But I took a stab at The Queen's Gambit.
Ooh.
And I watched the first episode. And I just don't think I'm going to keep going. Because I knew it was a mini-series, but after I watched the first episode, I looked to see, like I hovered over the thing to see how many episodes there were. And there's 6 episodes left after the first episode.
Yeah, it's a 7-episode series.
And that, honestly, seeing that it had 6 episodes left in the moment after having just watched episode 1 sounded like a fucking eternity. So the thing here is, I have a pretty good grasp, apparently, on what Bill Camp is doing. I have no grasp whatsoever on what Anya Taylor-Joy is doing. And I know I can't judge it because I'm sure it gets... Because here's the thing, is I don't know if I was just in too cynical of a mood while watching it, because that's kind of what it felt like. Because we get our first Anya Taylor-Joy scene, and she's doing the strung out thing, and she's got the drugs and the alcohol and all that, and it's like, all right, yeah, we saw this before, obviously. So it's like, how did she get to that point? So we're going to immediately get a flashback, and it's like, oh, I'll bet it was something tragic. Let's take a look and see. Oh yes, it was a car accident that killed her mother. Now she's orphaned, and then it kind of turns into this whole little orphan Annie flew over the cuckoo's nest, then found Bobby Fischer, then becomes the torture genius, and it's like something tells me that's the whole thing, and I don't need 6 more hours to tell me that. I could be completely wrong about that. I could be like, it could be this really great, amazing thing in the next 6 episodes that I have no idea about, but I honestly just don't care.
I'm just loving the fact you basically said that the whole series starts with basically a new version of "This is me." You're probably wondering how I got here.
Yeah, and it's the whole thing of like, oh god, I forgot where I was going with that now.
Somewhere.
But it doesn't matter. Point being, I'm sure it's great. I'm sure Anya Taylor-Joy is great, but I have about 30 seconds to go on. But like a lot of people are saying she's the front runner. That's probably true, but yeah. But it is nice to see Bill Camp get recognition. So there is that. When Bill Camp showed up in the last 2 minutes of News of the World, my first response was, I'm not even surprised. Of course Bill Camp's in.
It's the annual.
So
Bill Camp
before
has to be in some film that features somewhere in Oscars contention. You know, last year it was what was the one? With him being the farmer.
Dark Waters.
Yeah. Dark Waters.
The first time he really kind of stood out to me was he's great in Black Mass too.
Mm-hmm. You saying, Owen?
just a couple things from chat real quick.
Okay.
Bry Guy says,
before we finish with miniseries actor,
hold on.
I have not watched The Good Lord Bird yet, but I am so excited to watch The Good Lord Bird because obviously I've made it known throughout the years on this channel that I'm a massive, massive Ethan Hawke fan. And just the tiny little snippets I've seen of this performance, I can't fucking wait for this thing. It looks like there's over the top, and I imagine whatever the hell he's doing is so far beyond the phrase over the top. I just really want to see this thing. So that's going to be exciting, I think. And I'm glad to see that he's here in both places.
The ultra scary thing is, of course, it's a Jason Blum production. Is he doing something good?
Yeah, because they're like, I only learned recently they've been like best friends for a long time. Like Blum is the producer on his Hamlet from the year 2000.
Oh wow!
They've known each other like forever. I had no idea.
I'm guessing you're going to go to the Bry Guy comments. Right.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Bry Guy says Hamilton is awesome. It sucks it's ineligible for Oscars. Since it's TV at SAG, it should have easily won Ensemble for miniseries or TV movie. Hamilton was a movie. It could have been a Best Picture winner. Yeah, very easily. Smurfy Boy says, I still don't understand why SAG doesn't have supporting categories on TV. And Top Hat says, people are rather upset that music made it into the Golden Globes. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Don't worry. All right, now we're caught up. Next.
So, for female actor in TV, movie, or limited series, we've got Kate Blanchett for Mrs. America, Michaela Cole for I May Destroy You, Nicole Kidman for The Undoing, Anya Taylor-Joy for Queen's Gambit, and Kerry Washington for Little Fires Everywhere. Kerry Washington flying the flag for America in a category that has anybody but Americans in it. 2 Aussies, 2 Brits. Oh, yeah, sorry.
I really wanted to.
Anya Taylor-Joy is an American-born Argentinian British actress. Thanks for confusing it.
Yeah, because she seems very I mean, I know she's like not, but she seems British. I don't know why I think that. Is it Emma? Maybe.
No, it's Where We First Saw Her. Which?
Oh shit!
Yeah,
the bit that put her on the map when she was like with a load of British people because it was a black and white film that was done for like a pittance of a budget that people, realized, oh wait, this is a good horror film. It's not clap, clap, bang.
I've been wanting to look at Little Fires Everywhere as a massive Witherspoon fan. And this isn't a bad, actually, as a massive Witherspoon fan, this is a great thing, but she's in so much shit now, I'm losing track of it. I never even finished the morning show, and I liked what I saw, and then before the morning show was even fucking over, this was happening.
We'll talk about that in a second. Mr. Top Hat, he says, strangely enough, most of the leads from the prom managed to get into Globes, albeit in other movies or shows, except for Meryl. Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. Don't worry. Hold on, because we know where this is heading. And this is going to start the news for this season, I guarantee you, right now. We'll get to it, Ashley. Don't worry.
I know.
Continue.
I'll do a stunt ensemble because this encompasses comedy and drama.
Such a weird order to do this. Okay, continue.
Well, no, it's just because I'm trying to work out which of these is technically a comedy, because I see The Boys, I see Cobra Kai, I see Lovecraft Country, I see Mandalorian, and I see Westworld. Why don't they just say stunt ensemble in a drama when nobody gets in from a comedy? I don't know.
That beat tells you otherwise. Continue.
Well, at least they don't try to force the other genre in, like comedy or musical with the Globe.
I was getting ready to bring up The Martian right there, and that's our go-to every single time, but yeah.
So, with the comedy stuff, outstanding performance by a male actor in a comedy series, we've got Nicholas Hoult for The Great, Dan Levy for Schitt's Creek, Eugene Levy for Schitt's Creek, Jason Sudeikis for Ted Lasso, and Rami Youssef for Rami. And then with the female actors, Christina Applegate for Dead to Me, along with Linda Cardellini for Dead to Me as well, Kaylee Cuoco for Flight Attendant, and Annie Murphy for Schitt's Creek, and Catherine O'Hara for Schitt's Creek. This is the Schitt's Creek category.
Let me say right now, but first AJ's going to speak.
Well, before this becomes a Schitt's Creek love fest, but because also both the Levys are an actor, I didn't think Ted Lasso looked like anything worth noticing. But then I started hearing really good things about it, so I watched the first 3 episodes, and it is not what I expected at all. It's like, I don't know how to say it. It's smart, which I wasn't because the thing is you hear the concept where it's a culture clash thing, where Sudeikis goes like over to the UK and has to become a football coach there, but he's got like the mentality of like an American football coach, and there's like a clashing there, and obviously with Sudeikis you think that, especially with that concept, you think like maybe obnoxious character or loud character, but like all the comedy is in like the dialogue, and his character is actually like he's really likable, but he's also really blunt when it comes to the culture clash, but not in the way that makes him a douchebag. Like it just makes it funnier. So I wasn't expecting that. I mean, I don't think I'm gonna like continue it too much. I was just surprised. Like, I just wanted to see what it was given the response, and I was surprised.
I'm really confused because apparently, like, I don't know when Ted Lasso first came out, but I'm seeing, because there was a UK series over here about an American. Admittedly, this time it's sort of I think it's an owner of the team, who's of course played by Will Arnett. So I was like, is it that one? Because it's also about football/soccer. It's like...
Ted Lasso is brand new to the point that I don't even think the first season is over yet.
Oh, they're actually doing a sensible thing and releasing it on an episodic basis. Holy shit, that's a rarity. You were going to say, Owen?
Now I'm looking at this now. You've got me thinking about this kind of stuff here.
Oh no.
I'll probably save that. It's a joke that's gonna go over everybody's head, so it's fine. No worries.
The final episode was October the 2nd.
Bry Guy says, "There's one thing to say. There's no Mrs. Maisel this year."
Well, it didn't come out.
Isn't it so nice to see other people like have a chance and shit?
Yeah, but the issue is, I mean, is this just going to replicate the Emmys? Because in the ensemble we've got Ted Lasso and The Great and The Flight Attendant and Dead to Me, but the obvious one is Schitt's Creek because it did the Emmy history. It won everything.
It is going to be a great award season for Schlack's hometown.
I mean, to be
Ashley's
fair,
the only one that got that.
To be fair, we have seen that Emmy love doesn't always translate, but
No, not at all.
Yeah, but
I would
we
say this
know
might be
how
one of the-
season finale stuff translates to awards.
yeah.
Because I think Americans didn't it? Despite getting pretty much no recognition. Game of Thrones did, despite all that happened in that final season.
Well, we did male actor. It's time to do female actor now.
No, I already did. I combined the two.
So you went through that fast?
Yes. I just thought we'd do them
Good
all
Lord.
together and then we could just cover the whole comedy section because it's TV. We know.
Okay, that's fair.
We know the attitudes to television on this stuff.
Yep, let's do drama now and get to movies, please.
So on the drama stuff, on the male side, we've got Jason Bateman for Ozark, Sterling K. Brown for This Is Us, Josh O'Connor for The Crown, Bob Odenkirk for Better Call Saul, and Regé Jean Page for Bridgerton. And then in this is the Netflix category, honest, for female, we've got Julia Garner and Laura Linney for Ozark, and then Gillian Anderson, Emma Corrin, and Olivia Colman for The Crown. Other TV shows do exist. You won't find them here.
No. And if you want smart money in Vegas, you probably should put the world on one of those two winning. Because there's only two. So there.
And then the ensemble, we have Better Call Saul, Bridgerton, The Crown, Lovecraft Country, and Ozark. So yes, Lovecraft Country is nominated for... Lovecraft is nominated for ensemble with no recognition in male or female. Okay.
Fair.
That's an interesting
Well, it's
one.
time to...
I'll leave it at that.
Well.
Because Owen wants them to move on.
Movies!
Right. So, the stunt one. With a few of these, I'm trying to... Oh, I guess no, it does make sense with the stunts. So we've got The Five Bloods, Mulan, News of the World, Trial of Chicago 7, and Wonder Woman 84. I forgot that riots would be classified as stunts. I've been too normalized by what's happened in the world.
Fair assessment.
It's nice to see Mulan and Wonder Woman here, as the only stunts I remember looked very fucking animated. So, I guess there's more to it than it appears.
Mulan might get nominated. Then again, I always go, how did that get nominated for award? And then I have to remember that quite often you get those technical categories when it's like, okay, that was the only thing that was good about this. I guess that's why it's here.
Or just got in on dumb luck, which also happens every season too.
To some extent, yeah. So, for the supporting stuff, for the male supporting, we have Sacha Baron Cohen for Trial of Chicago 7, Chadwick Boseman for The Five Bloods, Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, Jared Leto for The Little Things, And Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami.
Well, obviously, there's two things to say about Leslie Odom Jr. Number one, we're going to pretend all his nominations are for Hamilton. And of course, secondly, do you get the vibe that I think it's kind of weird? Like, I suppose it makes sense if he was nominated at the Globes, but I find it interesting that they actually nominated him here because there's an ensemble category, and maybe I'm wrong, but the vibe I kind of kept getting was it's really hard to single anybody out of those four. Like, they all really feel like they're on equal ground, so I was trying to figure out what exactly it was he was getting singled out for, and the only thing I could come to was they just chose the most recognizable name, and he's going to kind of represent the acting in the movie in general. So it's weird to me that he's being singled out when all four of them I feel like are equally effective. But yeah, me. I guess you could kind of say the same thing about Cohen when you've got Rylance and Mandela. You could be going with too.
With the amount of amount of time that Cohen I think was in that film, because that is like actually, it's rare to see a Netflix film on a cinema screen over here, but that's how desperate they were. I'd say he's sort of like the more pivotal main role, because quite a lot of it is told sort of through the eyes of his comedy set in some of the bits. Yeah. Whereas Rylance is more of a supporting, and Redmayne is just there to get the Redmainers. Does that sound like too much like Remainers? I'm triggering Brexit people.
What's also interesting about Cohen is, given who he is and the character he's playing, it seems like on paper it would be something that would be destined for this kind of attention. So it's surprising how much of his performance is pretty downplayed. There's especially that moment while watching it where it was like he already had buzz by the time it came out, and it was like, I get this, but I don't get what's making him stand out from everybody else. And then right towards the end, he gets to take the stand, and it's like, oh shit, okay, this is it. And then his scene on the stand is very effective, but also very downplayed for the character. So it's actually, I almost want to say it's kind of inspired that he's the one that's being singled out. Because Langella and Rylance are actually feel like bigger as far as like acting. Yeah. So yeah.
I'm trying to think, what was the other time when like Sasha got recognized? I'm trying to remember.
They like him. It's clear that the Globes like him.
I'm trying to remember what film it is though, from like a few years back, that people realized he wasn't really just a comedy guy.
Sweeney Todd comes to mind.
I'm like after that, because obviously Sweeney Todd was still when he was in the Bruno sort of phase.
Hugo?
Yes, that's it. His contribution in Hugo from 2014, I think. Sounds about right. That was the one.
2011.
I was blimey.
Yeah,
that's 10 years.
He told an insane story about making Hugo. Was, you know how, because he was like, you know, kind of Borat and Bruno at the time, and he's working with Scorsese, and of course working with Scorsese is like really intimidating. Apparently there was one scene where Scorsese thought so highly of him, he went to Cohen and said, "How would you do this?" And he had to explain to Scorsese how they should do the scene. And apparently that's the way it actually ended up.
Yeah, because if you look from Hugo,
so he's got
Dictator voicing Madagascar 3, Les Mis, but he wasn't in that from what I remember a huge amount. Then a random cameo in Anchorman 2, Grimsby, still have to remember that exists. Alice Through the Looking Glass, I still have to remember that exists. And then all of a sudden,
That's the one I always forget about.
All of a sudden, he comes back with Trial of Chicago 7 and Borat 2.
If you want to throw Who is America in there, also kind of kept him in the spotlight.
Also The Spy, I think it was, the mini-series that was on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to say
quick
anything?
comments from chat?
Oh, there you go.
Are we gonna touch on something here that's kind of hard to touch on?
Go ahead.
I guess I'll have to be the one that says it. You will find rarely another person that's pushing as hard as I am to say that should Boseman not only get nominated but win for Ma Rainey. That has nothing to do with some of the votes. If he was still here now, he would still be the front runner by far. I mean, Hopkins would be there, but I feel like Boseman would still be running away with this, even if he was still here right now.
I mean, I haven't got the chance to see it yet, but is it another case where it's enough of a performance to be considered a main actor rather than a supporting?
He's absolutely the main actor.
Yeah.
I don't think I can say the same about the Five Bloods. I get it because of his character's place in the story makes it even more profound than when it came out, because he was still alive when the Five Bloods came out.
Yeah.
But it's abundantly clear somebody like Clark Peters should be getting the supporting recognition for the Five Bloods.
Whoa.
So I don't know if he's going to keep going with the Five Bloods thing. I don't know if I'm as passionate about that. Even though anything the Five Bloods gets, I'm behind. But I mean, when there's another actor there that'll be getting this place, when Boseman's already pretty much guaranteed a win at this point.
If I'm right, the Chadwick sort of thing in the Five Bloods is the equivalent of Judi Dench in Shakespeare in Love, as in he's not in the film for too much. Mainly because of his character. It's just a black accent.
I still think it's more the it's more the significance of the character.
Yeah.
That's probably doing this push, but. And then there's the whole thing, which I don't know the accuracy to this because I don't think many people have seen Judas and the Black Messiah at this point. But
considering it only had its premiere at Sundance like literally 5 days ago, no.
So I've basically been hearing, with Paul Ritchie pretty much being out of the running now when he was the front runner with the Critics Awards, I'm hearing a lot of people say that this could be Kaluuya's to win. Because we don't really have like a clear winner in this category.
Well, considering how I see the first three listed to Daniel Kaluuya, Lakeith Stanfield, and Jesse Plemons, that to me is just rubbing my hands with glee. Put this on the streaming services now, please.
It's also kind of weird since his character is in the Trial of Chicago 7.
Yeah.
So that's yeah. So I guess we can't overlook Leto. That's discussion worthy.
He made it in.
Yeah, because obviously the Globes came out first, and everybody was like, "Oh, those Globes, they're being so weird. Why would they put Jared Leto in here?" And then SAG dropped it. I was telling, I'm going to do a review of the little things like pretty much right after we do this, so I'm just going to be repeating myself probably. But
tomorrow's video, ladies and gentlemen.
I think it has to say something that your movie's leads are Denzel and Rami Malek. Rami Malek is great, obviously. But let's just take him out of the equation for a second and say that this is a Denzel movie. Who would have ever guessed a movie would come out with Denzel as the lead, and the main takeaway is it really wasn't that great until Jared Leto showed up? What kind of crystal ball would you have to look into to see that? But that's exactly what happens. This movie is a mediocre Law and Order episode, and then when Jared Leto comes in at around the hour mark, it's suddenly incredible. And it's like, when you think the phrase cat and mouse has been labeled like with a lot of shitty thrillers in the past. It's like whenever you say that, you're like, it just sounds like it'd be a shitty thriller, and that's the go-to label they give it to make it sound interesting. This, when Jared Leto comes in, is like a genuine cat and mouse movie in the most entertaining and wild and unpredictable way. And that's the thing too. The character is so incredibly unpredictable, and how the dark humor coming from him also, and like his seemingly obsession with food. It's like none of this should work, and pretty much everything he does is working. And it's still your usual, like, if you wouldn't be faulted for seeing it as the usual Jared Leto cringe, but there's something about its placement here that's somehow perfect. And so I'm actually all for this. Some people were saying it's like an Aaron Taylor Johnson scenario when he was nominated for Nocturnal Animals. He eventually won the Globe. But number one, he doesn't have a Shannon that could take his place. And I just kind of really hope this happens, because it would just kind of be so out of left field as of before the movie came out very recently.
I got some comments from chat, Owen.
Yeah, eventually. Tennant missed the stunts. Top Hat says Jared shakes fist angrily. Smurfy Boy says Kingsley Ben-Adir would have been nominated if he wasn't in leading. Top Hat says, I guess the little things really do add up. Bry Guy says, if you count the ensemble nominations, Bozeman has 4 nominations. And Top Hat says this is a record for posthumous nominations.
Yeah.
Smurfy Boy says, even before his death, you could tell Chadwick was on his way to winning an Oscar sooner rather than later. In fact, he should probably have 3 Best Actor nominations by now.
What I'm trying to think. Marshall.
Top Hat.
42. And I don't want to say Black Panther because that'd be too obvious.
3 words. Get on up.
Oh, yeah.
Come on. Good God, that movie's great.
Sorry, they only put that movie on at 2 o'clock in the morning on Channel 4 over here, so nobody watches it.
Well, let's be clear. Let's be clear. That's how good he is in Get On Up. You forget that the movie actually wasn't that great. But
no, I never said the movie was great. He was great in it.
Yeah. It probably gets ignored because 1, it's not Rami Malek, and 2, he didn't do the singing.
Well, as we saw with how much I praised Rami Malek, that doesn't really... I don't care. Yeah. He didn't actually sing. The Academy didn't care that Jamie Foxx didn't, but nobody talks about that.
You're welcome. So, Little Things was directed by John Lee Hancock, who did Saving Mr. Banks, of course, and the founder and Ironside.
I didn't realize till the credits he wrote the fucking thing, too.
Interesting.
Looking at the details,
he is like the definition of... What was that?
Looking at the details on Wiki, if this is true, I hope it's been verified. Apparently, John Lee Hancock wrote it for Spielberg to direct, like in the 90s. I don't know why
I'd love to know the casting on that.
All right. Now we're in supporting female actor.
Yes. Maria Bakalova for... Hang on. Borat subsequent movie film Delivery of Prodigious Bribe to American Regime for Make Benefit Once Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan. I'll only do it again for when it's nominated in the other category. Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy. Olivia Colman for The Father. Yoo Jung Yoon for Minari. and Helena Zengel for News of the World.
I mentioned this when I reviewed it, and I kind of still feel that way. The dreadful reviews be damned. I think Glenn Close is here to stay.
I mean, we'll see what happens with stuff that gets bad reviews when we get to the Globes.
You gotta love that she's up against Coleman again. That's never a good sign.
Although, of course, the complication with Coleman's character is it's not always Coleman because of the way that the narrative arc goes with Father, which I think is an interesting route. So it's like, hopefully she acknowledges the other person that plays not her in the other bit.
So is it like a Jeffrey Rush scenario, like Jeffrey Rush and Noah Taylor and Shine?
I ain't seen that in a while. Basically, over time, because of his dementia, he sees her as another woman with another name because the Alzheimer's is getting to him so much.
I haven't seen The Father yet, but that sounds like a really cool concept.
It's not coming out here till the 12th of March, so I can't see it either, but thanks to it being out in Sundance and getting a real lot of good press out of it, yeah. Well, for the fact that it's got Hopkins and Coleman and Rufus Hall and Imogen Poots and Mark Gatiss and Olivia Williams as the cast, it's like, yes. And the fact that it's portraying dementia in sort of a realistic way from the person that's seeing the dementia, rather than look at that old crazy bastard that's losing his mind, like you get in God knows how many other depictions of it that have been. What was the film? Was it We Were Here from last year? With the mother dealing with dementia? Can you remember, AJ?
No. That sounds familiar, but I can't think of it.
That's the way, the stereotypical way is. This time it's like trying to do it from the other way around, which is an interesting,
Yeah, I'm like significantly more interested in The Father than I was 30 seconds ago.
Let's just say it's No the Two Popes. Then again, what is?
Top Hat says, "You were never really there," says Top Hat.
Well, no, wasn't it You Were Never Really Here? With Joaquin.
He says you were never really there.
You Were Never Really Here was the Joaquin Phoenix movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Top Hat says, I didn't want to believe Close was still a thing, but here we are. Bry Guy says, is it just because Hillbilly Elegy has Ron Howard's name in it? Then again, look at Sean Penn and I Am Sam.
I'm sorry, did I miss the part where the dilemma was an Oscar sweep or what?
Wow.
Well, the thing about it, though, is obviously Close is like it. Like, she was already at Overdue overtime when Coleman beat her. So now she's at a whole other plateau of Overdue. And it's the kind of, like, the scene when she buys the kid the calculator and gets all pissed off, like, that's going to be her fucking SAG clip. They're just going to have to... I mean, weirdly, I wasn't expecting... Hillbilly Elegy has the dialogue of a fucking Scorsese movie, so they're going to have to, like, really edit it down. But yeah, it's like... Because I know that people already assumed it was going to be an awards movie, and then when they saw the poster, they're like, oh no, this is just hilarious bait. This isn't going to do anything. If anything, this is going to embarrass them. But Close goes all in. So, like, I honestly wouldn't be surprised at all if she continues to do well for the rest of the season.
It's the usual.
Funny you mentioned that.
it's the usual case of I've heard the same sort of thing with Malcolm and Marie that came out this weekend, in that great performances, shame about the rest of it, sort of thing.
Almost out of morbid curiosity, I almost looked at that Anne Hathaway Chiwetel movie about being locked down and doing a heist or something. And it's like I haven't heard any positive word about any of the lockdown themed movies yet.
Well, from what I've heard, it's more on the positive front than the negative front. But I mean, you know.
Are you talking about Malcolm and Marie or the other one?
No, the other one. The Anne Hathaway one. The stuff I've heard with Malcolm and Marie is, again, very good performances, but the script just seems like, and a lot of the people that have reviewed it have just been like, if you don't like each other, just split up. And somehow it gets dragged out for sort of like an hour and a half.
I haven't seen Minari yet, so I can't comment on. I'm hoping to very, very soon. But how interesting that the girl from News of the World is doing really well.
I've heard good things about her performance, though.
Yeah, because I think what's interesting is, given the genre and the fact that she's young, it's going to be inevitable we see comparisons to Haley Steinfeld and stuff like that. But those performances are so incredible. Like, where Steinfeld, the strength of Steinfeld's performance was how she delivered the dialogue. She's working with like hardly any dialogue at all, and it's those scenes that like really stand out and are probably what's getting her to this point.
To be fair, I'm already confused because Paul Greengrass nearly never makes films where characters don't say anything. So it's like, oh my word, what are you doing, Paul?
I couldn't believe it. There were only like 2 shots that looked handheld. I couldn't believe it. I would have never in a million years guessed he made this.
Who are you and what have you done with Paul Greengrass? Anyway, comments?
Oh boy. I don't think Glenn Close or Amy Adams will be nominated at Critics' Choice. His critics hated it. Hillbilly Elegy says Smurfy Boy.
Yeah, something else we got to touch on in this category. Somebody's not here. I watched Mank a while back.
Oh.
But I never reviewed it. And there's a reason I never reviewed Mank. I don't have a single fucking thing to say about Mank. I don't love it. I don't like it. I don't dislike it. I don't hate it. I feel nothing towards Mank. Not even towards Oldman, not the cinematography. Maybe possibly Arliss Howard.
We have found the ultimate film of ambivalence for AJ. Yes.
So I was watching Seyfried because she had all the buzz. Seyfried was the front runner when Mank came out. And it was like, okay, it's obviously not going to be a big performance, so let's look for subtleties. Let's look for any sign of life, actually. And I wasn't getting it. And the more praise I heard, the more I thought I was losing my mind. And I was on another planet. I had hallucinated a different performance. I had no idea what was going on. And I felt so fucking validated when she missed SAG. And you can't say they missed Mank because Oldman's here.
Sorry.
So
this is the first time I know of this film having like Tom Burke and Tuppence Middleton and, you know, Charles Dance and Sam Troutman and Lily Collins. But I only just noticed Bill Nye is in this film. The actual science guy. What the shit?
He's up in Sinclair.
Yes,
he's up in Sinclair. It's the weirdest fucking cameo I've ever seen.
I need to watch this now. I don't know why. Also the soundtracks from bloody Reznor and Ross. Yeah, 9 Inch Nails do a film about Mank. What? What?
I mean, they are really showing their range lately, but yeah, this one didn't particularly stand out like they usually do. Nothing about this stands out. I mean, even all the gimmicks, like the opening credits and the fucking reel change bubbles or whatever, it's just all like, whatever the fuck. I don't care. There's nothing that stands out to me about Mank. I was really excited about Charles Dance being fucking Hearst. And I was like, yeah, that was Charles Dance, and he was playing Hearst. That's about it.
I think there's another comment in from Smurfy Boy about another snub, which is probably one we need to bring up as well. Owen, if you want
to. Yeah, talk about Amanda Seyfried not getting SAG, and Ellen Burstyn missing out on both SAG and Globes.
There's the other one.
What's Ellen Burstyn in? Like, what is she up for?
I'm trying to remember. It was
like I said, Mank is confusing for you.
I'm trying to remember what it is. I remember that it was like the one again that had all the buzz. But I don't remember what the actual film was. Oh yeah, for her supporting role in Pieces of a Woman.
Oh yeah. And it's every time I go to Netflix, I see Pieces of a Woman sitting there, and it's like, I really need to watch this thing, but it just sounds so emotionally exhausting.
Also,
I know I probably will this week.
Considering other stuff that's come out regarding one of the other stars of that film and allegations against said person. Ooh.
I remember a lot of people thought that was going to kill Kirby's chances by association, but apparently that hasn't happened. So at least she's got that going for her. That would be kind of shit, though, for somebody to lose their chances by association. So I'm kind of glad that, even though I haven't seen the movie yet, it's based on that alone, it is nice to see that didn't have any effect on her.
Well, hopefully not. We've got to wait to get to the Oscars.
Oh, yeah.
How many times have we had people show up in the SAGs and the Globes and maybe the BAFTAs, and then all of a sudden they go with somebody else that was also in the others, but meant that somebody else just gets knocked out. I think ready to go on to the next one, Owen? I'm getting confused because my comments are going weird. Right, so in the leading roles on the male side, we have Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anthony Hopkins for The Father, Gary Oldman for Mank, and Stephen Yeun for Minari.
It's nice to see that Stephen Yeun is getting that recognition now that so many people were bummed out about him missing for Burning, was it?
Yeah. I think so, yeah. That rings a bell.
And what's funny is I noticed we're seeing the reverse here for two scenarios. Where before Mank had come out, people were saying like, oh man, Amanda Seyfried's practically a front runner. And oh yeah, Oldman is also probably in contention, but it's all about Seyfried. But yeah, Oldman might possibly get there as well, even though he's not getting as much attention. And same thing with Paul Raci in Sound of Metal, where he was like the front runner supporting actor. He's winning like all the critics awards. Everybody's going and saying it's like, oh, as an afterthought, I hope Riz Ahmed might find something as well, might find some traction as well. And now Riz Ahmed's everywhere.
Well,
rightfully, of course.
To be fair, isn't he co-writer on it as well? I think Riz.
Which one?
Or he's somewhere involved in the production of it. I think. Oh wow, Sound of Metal was co-written by Derek Kemference from Blue Valentine and Place Beyond the Pines, and Mark Ruffalo's favourite. I know this much is true.
Yeah, that's another thing where you were talking about the portrayal of dementia and the father. The portrayal of deafness in Sound of Metal is incredible.
Well, the fact that it's officially listed as not only a English movie but also an American Sign Language movie as well.
And that makes perfect sense. Yeah, there's not really much to say about these that we haven't already touched on.
It's a strong list.
And obviously we were kind of there seemed to be a turning point where everybody was like, well, of course Boseman's going to get in, and then at some point there was a turning point where it became pretty much abundantly clear that he's just going to win. I think one of the first cases was the director roundtable.
Mm-hmm.
The director roundtable was like Chloe Zhao and Spike Lee and Greengrass and Clooney, the director of Minari, and just straight up, and George C. Wolfe is there, who did Ma Rainey, and with him and Spike there, they were talking about both of Boseman's roles, and Clooney of all people just straight up said, "Yeah, Boseman's gonna win." He said it like the most casual thing ever, just like, "Yeah, Boseman will win, of course." I mean. And honestly, you know, and it's really annoying because you just know how many people are gonna use the whole "it's for that reason" thing, and most of them probably won't have seen Ma Rainey. If you see Ma Rainey, you are not even gonna question it at all. But yeah, so that's gonna be annoying in the future, but we'll deal with that when it comes, because it will.
It's inevitable. Oh god, I'm looking at some of these comments. Go ahead, Owen.
Oh, if you want to bring them up, you can say them too.
Oh, just
Smurfy Boy says,
I just want you to say something in this, not just be like a nodding dog.
No, it's fine. I don't have anything to say. Continue.
Okay. So Smurfy Boy says there's a big push for Dominique Fishback for supporting actress as well for Judas and Black Messiah. And adding that maybe Delroy Lindo and Steven Yeun are fighting for the 5th spot at the Oscars.
We're not gonna.
We'll get to that.
I'm gonna fucking. Yeah. When we get to actor in the Globes, I'll unleash the fury on these bullshit fucking goddamn Delroy Lindo snobs.
The one that triggered me is Mr. Top Hat saying the Oscar goes to Sal Vulcano for Impractical Jokers the movie. And then Smurfy just added the scene where Chadwick is yelling at Gob with a knife in his hands is amazing. I mean, let's be honest, that's probably making it into the video package, isn't it?
Yeah, there's way, that scene's way too, the emotion in that scene, as you can guess, is like way too fucking real. And obviously that's a good thing, but
so for lead female, she's in again, Amy Adams for Hillbilly Elegy, Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of a Woman, Frances McDormand for Nomadland, and Kerry Mulligan for Promising Young Woman.
Well, I made my argument for why Close is here, and why I think Close will continue to be here. I just got a big old fucking question mark with Adams, because wasn't she a large portion of the negative reviews?
I mean,
like a really large portion.
I mean, I do wonder what happened to her 2020, because from what I remember, I also heard mixed things about supposedly her performance in Woman in the Window.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I read the Woman in the Window's book over the whole lockdown thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's trashy as fuck, but it's also like kind of riveting too.
Oh, so it's
girl. And it's the kind of thing.
It's Girl on the well, no, I wouldn't say Girl on the Train, because Girl on the Train's a pretty good book, but it turned into sort of the trashy film.
Watch it. Watch what you fucking say right now. But but yeah, they're like those movies we talked about before, where they're movies that should have been made in the '90s, yet for some reason they're still making them. But they still work for me. Like they're my ultimate guilty pleasure. Like this is how much I love the movies that should have been made in the '90s thing. I have No Good Deed with Idris Elba on Blu-ray. That's how much I love this genre in itself. And I feel like an actress like Adams could kill the role that's in The Woman in the Window, but she could also the opposite of that. She could completely humiliate herself.
I guess it's just cursed because it's the last Fox film. Even because it was the final film under the Fox 2000 label. After it all got shuttered because of the Disney purchase. Plus, it's a Joe Wright film, and we know that he can be very good or pan.
I knew we knew the director. I was trying to remember who it was, and yeah, this seems odd material for him. So, yeah. Oh yeah, Atonement. Oh my God, it's amazing. The one take shot in Atonement. Holy shit. Also Pan.
Yeah, like Pride and Prejudice and Atonement, and then Soloist, and then it starts to go down a little bit, and then Hannah, which arguably Hannah got more traction as a TV series without him involved. Anna Karenina, Pan. Oh God, Darkest Hour. I completely forgot he directed that. All I remember is Gary Oldman.
Yeah, because Darkest Hour is really fucking well made. Maybe that's why we forgot it was it.
Wait a minute, he's directing Peter Dinklage as Cyrano de Bergerac? Sign me the hell up!
I saw Peter Dinklage was going to be the Toxic Avenger. I didn't know he was doing Cyrano as well.
Yeah.
That's
Haley Bennett as Roxanne as well, and Ben Mendelsohn, and Calvin Harrison Jr. and Brian Tyree Henry. Oh, Cyrano suddenly looks interesting.
Fuck.
Cyrano suddenly looks interesting.
Shit.
When
are we getting this?
Oh God, it's an MGM film, so depending how financially it goes with Bond for them, it might not exist. So anyway, I'd still say I'm so pleased to see Carey Mulligan getting recognition here, though. Because from what I've heard of the performance in Promising Young Woman, it's a really sort of meaty role.
Oh my God, you haven't seen it yet.
Tell you, the problem is over here. In order for the films to be eligible for the BAFTAs, they have to release by April the 9th. So nearly all of them are coming out basically March or April, so I've still got to wait. Plus, if they're on the equivalent of I still haven't seen Wonder Woman 1984 because I'm not paying £16 for a 48-hour rental. I prefer to wait for, spend maybe £10 to £12 for, a purchase. I've still got to catch up on Bill and Ted because it only just came round to purchase a few weeks back.
I mean, if you skipped Wonder Woman 84 entirely, you might be a happier person, but
yeah, but I'm sort of a mark for Pedro Pascal. How good he is with a mask on. Just in Mandalorian when you can't even see his face. Like what? But especially having seen Vanessa Kirby's work mainly on the stage, I'm trying to remember the couple of National Theatre things that I saw her in. Please tell me it lists it. Yeah, she was Stella in the Young Vic's production of Streetcar Named Desire. And then she was also in Uncle Vanya from Chekhov. And then also there was a new play called Julie from the National Theatre as well, which was, she's really done a lot of good stage work. And Of course, most people just know her mainly from her stuff from The Crown, which is a little bit annoying because it was her performances in the plays that arguably got her the Crown gig, I would say, to some extent. And that probably got her the Mission Impossible gig. And probably Fast and Furious, because I keep having to remember that she was in that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, hopefully for her sake, everybody else has forgotten as well. So, because she was in the really shitty one. She's in Hobbs and Shaw.
I think so.
That's like the series, and that's fucking saying something.
And of course, and Carey Mulligan also being in The Dig, that I've heard a lot of praise for since that came out. Because she sort of went off the radar. I mean, she did Wildlife, and then there was the miniseries Collateral. But she really didn't do anything for like the last year or two. So it's good to see her back.
Owen, would you like to speak in praise of Ms. Mulligan?
Oh God, yes. I've been waiting forever to say this. First off, this season is going to be a lot of me just sitting here. At least for right now. I don't know what the sound in the background thing is. We'll figure it out later. Here's the thing. Exactly. For all of you that know about my love for Greta Gerwig, that takes back to Nights and Weekends, I have the same 100% love for Carey Mulligan. And AJ may be the only one here that actually knows this. I've been in on the ground floor with her work. And pretty much when it comes down to it, everything I've seen her in, she makes better in one way or another.
Let's clarify
and
what
we've
you
been
mean by ground floor.
I'm not a period piece person at all.
Yeah, I'm still confused.
But
because technically an education is a period piece, which is where most people got her.
Yeah, but she was in Pride and Prejudice 4 years before that, so
okay,
2009 was her year, without question.
Yeah, we're talking the proper one.
Yes, 2009 was her year, 100%. The thing about it is, I'm a huge fan of her work. I've been a huge fan of her work since day one, and I'm very happy to say that, for once, my bias actually might go somewhere this season. Because not only do I feel that she is going to make a huge impact, and the movie itself is going to make a huge impact, unlike with what happened with American Hustle several years ago, I can't see her walking away empty-handed. I can't see the movie walking away empty-handed. I can't see anybody connected with the movie walking away empty-handed. It will win something this season. Mark my words, here on February 6th. I don't care what it is. It will win something televised, guaranteed.
The nationality is a clue, I think, to at least one. Because I think BAFTA would really try and push her, I'd say.
And the fact that she's actually a contender and she's not just in this race, just based on sheer luck alone, I'm very happy to say. And I will stress right now, this is the only movie that I have seen from this award season, and I have zero problems in admitting that right now. I went to a theater to watch this film, and I do not care. I paid money to watch this film. I happily paid money to watch this film. And if it's the only thing I watch theatrically in this award season, I'm okay with that. Because it is that good. Not just because of Carey, not just because of the tremendous cast that got slighted. We're talking about the movie in general is that good. In every way possible. And if you've not seen it yet, implore yourself to find a way to see this film.
I was really looking forward to it getting an ensemble, and that's actually pretty heartbreaking that it didn't.
100%, but I don't think it's going to be the only accolade the movie misses. That's the only thing I'm saying right now.
I think mainly just because I really even though he's in it for like 5 or 10 minutes, I need Max Greenfield to get credit for his presence in this movie.
Well, absolutely.
And that is something interesting happened when Max Greenfield was on Conan.
Uh-oh. What went down?
You know how when an actor goes on a talk show, they bring a clip to show of the movie they're promoting?
Mm-hmm.
While Max Greenfield was on the show, they showed the Christopher Mintz-Plasse clip. Because let's just say you cannot show Max Greenfield in this movie out of context.
No, not at all. Oh,
And I love the way they went around that.
that's great.
I do like the fact as well that the writer-director is in the video tutorial.
Yeah.
You know, I love the fact that the credits is host of Blowjob Lips makeup video tutorial.
So good. Top Hat's leaving. He says we'll catch you on VOD. Take care and keep Ashley away from the crack. We're going back there again. But yeah, again, I'm very happy this season. And if I'm sitting and not doing anything except for nodding and laughing here and there, being the Robin Quivers of this network of this season, I'm fine with that, because I'm going to mark out like there's no tomorrow for Carey Mulligan getting such praise, and deservedly so, this season.
Well, you talk significantly less than Robin does.
You're not wrong.
And then, of course, we've got the Ensemble Cast one as well.
Well, we should probably speak real quick on Davis and McDormand. I mean, they kind of speak for themselves.
The problem is, I'd say they were the sort of obvious front runners, because the buzz for Davis has been around for a while, and McDormand's has been really ever since was it Cannes that it debuted at, or was it TIFF? I'm trying to remember.
Was it not Dance? I feel like I've been hearing about it forever.
No, Venice.
And then it won.
It was
big
Venice.
award.
It was Venice, but it was also at TIFF the same day. So although it's technically the world premiere at Venice, it basically it had both covered. And I'm pretty sure, it was part of a London Film Festival as well. I remember.
It won. It was the first ever film to win the top prize at both Venice and Toronto.
Yeah, well, because they could get round it.
But also the interesting thing about Davis is that all these people are kind of not so much Adams, but most of these people are like the face of their movie. And Davis literally is Ma Rainey.
She is the face.
But she's like, it feels like she's barely in it. Like a lot of her impact is when she's not even on screen, but you can like feel her presence getting closer. And then obviously
from what I've heard is pretty much what Ma Rainey was like in real life. She was.
Yeah, they have that like half an hour documentary. Mm-hmm. That half an hour documentary on Netflix that helpfully plays right after the movie. That like tells you everything you need to know.
Oh, the recommended the recommended stuff.
So I will say right now, it sounds like for the little bit that I've read about this, and obviously because I have a literal stake in the actual category itself, it sounds like we've got 4 that are, I can't say a lock, but they seem extremely probable. And then we have to figure out who that 5th slot's going to.
Hang on. Now, now I need to go to
I'm
my
gonna think-
now
I
I
feel
need
like
to
one
go
of-
to my BAFTA long list to see who are the other ones.
I'm curious if Sophia Loren is entirely out of this.
Ooh, that's I vaguely remember seeing that name in the list for the
Hence my fifth slot comparison, AJ.
So the long list for BAFTA for
It's
leading
these
actress.
four plus one.
The long list,
Actually, no, save that. Popcast, save that.
no, because I'm not going through the long list for every single one of them. When we get to the BAFTAs, I do find it interesting. There's been not much recognition, at least on the international front, for Ammonite. So Kate Winslet might be in a chance if I got any stuff. Also, I remember a lot of buzz for Alfred Woodward for Clemency. So possibly.
I just think it's hilarious how much Winslet always like really goes all out campaigning and like never gets in anymore.
Especially when she
And
said,
it's always
I'm
like
not
the
going to
baitiest
bother.
shit.
I'm pretty sure when this came out, she said, I'm not going to bother campaigning for this one. And it's like, you were campaigning the campaigniest campaign you've done in the history of campaigning.
Everybody wants to be Monique. Everybody wants their campaign to be they're not going to campaign. Only problem is that pretty much only worked for Monique.
Well, to be fair, did Brad Pitt actually campaign and still won last year?
Hey, that performance speaks for its fucking self. Who cares?
Sorry, I forgot the AJ bias. There we go.
That's no bias. That's a fact, sir.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
I hate the fact that I'm going to say this on the first Popcast on the season, but on this network and in this apartment, we hereby stand Rick Dalton. Okay, so there you go.
And we all could use a Cliff Booth in our life as well.
Actually, very true. Speaking of that, not really. I just needed a segue to roll in the chat. Davis is surprisingly funny in the movie, says Smurfy Boy.
Yeah.
Brag Guy asks Andra Day, although she's not in BAFTA.
Trying to remember what.
Brag Guy says Clemency was last year. It wasn't in time for last year's BAFTA. Okay, that makes sense.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah.
Cassie, welcome. And Smurfy Boy says, "What about Jessie Buckley or Zendaya?"
Yeah, Jessie is in the long list at BAFTA for I'm thinking of ending things. Although there's an obvious name which I won't mention because I'll save that for when the BAFTAs do nominate for saying I told you so.
I know I'm like one of the few people that actually liked this season, but I'm kind of put off by the lack of Fargo love. I absolutely feel like Rock and Buckley should have been here or at Globe somewhere. I'm like for the first time I'm finally on the Jessie Buckley train and now she's being ignored. I have that effect.
Well, to be fair.
Well, it's funny.
To be fair, Wild Rose was pretty good. And then she made Doolittle. And that's the Doolittle effect. There you go. Holy shit.
And a nice spoiler. Take a shot. When it comes down to it, it's not that word I was looking for. It's the fact that that's also a nice way to talk about the fact that we have a Fargo podcast that exists on this channel right now. If you want to check that out, AJ's reviews of the Fargo season. So there you go.
Oh, I completely forgot that Jessie was also a misbehavior this year. And she was randomly in the Judy Garland thing. Wow. Right, so yeah, on the Ensemble Cast, we have The Five Bloods, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Minari, One Night in Miami, and Trial of the Chicago 7.
Oh, look at that. That's adorable. They put the Five Bloods in Ensemble. So technically they nominated Delroy Lindo.
Oh, wow.
I tell you, they have a problem with him being English. Um, I honestly think, because every time I see him, I don't think of him as an English actor. The amount of like American stuff I've just seen him in. Was he actually in anything English? No.
Who are we talking about?
Delroy Lindo. He was born in London.
What about him?
Well, nearly
Well,
everything
that's
that I can
news
think of
to
is
me.
yeah. He uh he moved. Okay, as a teenager, he and his mother moved to Toronto, Canada, and when they were 16, they moved to San Francisco. Technically, he is British.
I would never have guessed that.
Neither did I. When I was like, you know, when I was like, when the publicity came out for the Golden Globes, and they said, you know, maybe there's a shout for British actors like Delroy Lindo, and I was like, I beg your pardon. But no, it technically, you know, it's like Anya Taylor-Joy. She's American. I beg your pardon. And also Argentinian.
Smurfy Boy thinks Critics' Choices and BAFTA will determine the 5th Best Actress spot. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, of course, the advantage of Critics' Choice is
God,
it's
how many-
normally 6, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like Critics' Choice adds a slot every year.
They can't choose between the two. It's like, hey, we'll just nominate them both.
No, I think you're right with the whole. Partially, they add one every year, because I think because I was having to clear out the spreadsheet so I can get all this tabulated. So when we do the bloody predictions, we know where everybody falls and everything. And I think every category had 6, apart from like either actress or supporting actress, which had 7. So that was, I guess, another one where it was somewhat of a tie when it came to the long list to the short list. So
thank you, Cassie, for joining us, and we enjoy your presence in chat. And check out the Popcast when it gets posted.
Yeah. I'm pleased to see that, because obviously it's interesting. With obviously some of them, like with Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and Minari, and to some extent, I guess, because of how maybe not well known some of the actors are, One Night in Miami is. But like, you know, Paul Walter Hauser might be getting an award for the Five Bloods, because I keep forgetting he was in that.
Yeah.
And then of course
There's quite a few players from Black Klansman.
And then of course the 5-minute cameo from Michael Keaton in Trial of Chicago 7.
The very crucial cameo. Though.
Oh no, I get that. I understand that. And also considering how all the buzz was about Yahya Abdul-Mateen II in it, and he's, you know, I mean, it's not to the same extent of Keaton not being in it very much, but the fact that sort of halfway through the film he just disappears. When it's basically a film just about that. Well, let's be honest, Trial of Chicago 7 is just, how crazy was that fucking judge? The movie. Wasn't about anything else, it was just about that judge. Good job, Dracula. But I still say it's there's none there that I'd say are ones that I wouldn't like to see winning. And there's none where it's like this just got in for the sake of it, I feel. They're all strong films.
They're all of them are likely winners too.
Yeah. Certainly.
I wouldn't be surprised if Molina did, because Glenn Turman has just been having like an amazing last couple of years.
All coming from Peyton
So,
Place.
so we're going to end tonight with the next ceremony that we're going to be talking about. As a matter of fact, we're ending with the ceremony we're going to be talking about next Saturday. Next Saturday night, time to be announced. I'd say somewhere in the 6, 7, 8 range, somewhere in that time frame. I get off at 5, so I have to allow for later time. Maybe 7 or 8 range. We're going to be back here with our Golden Globes predictions. But before we predict them, let's talk about the nomination, shall we?
Yes. Starting on the TV front, because that's how Owen wants to work.
Well, actually, no. I want to talk about the ones that have already been given out first, like we did with the Spirit Awards.
Wait, we've already got Golden Globes given out?
Well, yes, we have 2 awards that were given automatically.
I forgot. Yes, the film award is going to Jane Fonda.
Yeah, Cecil B. DeMille Award going to Jane Fonda this season.
Which is weird, because I feel most of her stuff in the last few years has just been television / Netflix. And then Norman Lear is getting the Carol Burnett Award for the television contribution.
It's about time, too, honestly.
Yeah. I wouldn't recognize the name, but, looking at the list of what he's been involved with, yeah. I say it's probably... Now
He's done a lot of things
I'm just
in his career.
Hang on, I need to transition over to the thing, because, of course, last year, the Golden Globes gave us that. The Hanks face.
Oh, God.
Little did we know that's how we'd feel. That's how, considering how Hanks sort of dominated last year, what with the positive test and everything as well, it was like, a crazy time, but,
One of these men will have an action figure by the time this year is over. You decide which one it is.
Hey, I want my News of the World action figure now, please.
I mean, there is a Saving Mr. Banks pop vinyl that exists right now, basically, so...
I'm trying to remember... Would they bother to do an action figure for him in Greyhound? I had to think about it, because I had to remember that Greyhound existed. Because it came out on Apple.
Yeah.
Because the amount of Apple stuff that's so far been recognized in this season is like Ted Lasso and nothing else.
Come on, where's my Jimmy Dugan Super 7? I want a NECA Forrest Gump. Come on.
Why isn't there an action figure of whatever character he was supposed to be in Cloud Atlas? Which one, actually?
That's like 5 characters.
Yeah, that's the problem. I just realised. It could be
You buried the lead, Ashley.
It's a transformer. It literally it's a different character.
You buried the lead, Ashley.
That's weirdly close to the kind of toy he was trying to promote in Big.
Oh, God.
If only he was.
This is true.
If only he was selling that in a hologram for the king. How many more Tom Hanks films could we reference? So, we'll start off with the.
So why is Tinker?
Go ahead.
We're 2 hours in. We haven't even started the Globes yet, and we're just rattling off Hanks' filmography for no reason.
There's always a reason. Come on, catch me if you can. Seriously, let's do this.
Thanks, Hanks. Thanks.
It's just that thing to do. Now, here's the question. Why are Tina Fey and Amy Poehler hosting again?
Because they announced it. I think they announced that like March, didn't they?
It's Brian's comment in chat, guys. Come on.
I mean,
well, because Gervais said he wasn't going to do it again for the 50th time,
yeah,
even though we know he always eventually does again.
I think they did announce it like really early. I think like April or May, even before they knew that everything was going to move. I also find it interesting that it's going to be a split production, because it's going to be the Beverly Hilton as it normally is in California, but then also apparently the Rainbow Room in Manhattan.
So it's like WrestleMania 2?
No, that was in 3 different places. That's the problem.
I know. It's the new version of it 2 instead of 3.
We need a 3rd place. Please tell me there's people that will be stuck in London so that they have to just have like a London hotel open.
Just pop up a sprung tent in front of Big Ben. Let's do this!
So, I'll go with the television supporting categories because they obviously amalgamate them all together. So, for supporting actor, we have John Boyega for Small Axe, Brendan Gleeson for The Comey Rule. Wait, Brendan Gleeson played Donald Trump this year? Why was I not aware of this? Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he definitely did. He definitely did.
Dan Levy for Schitt's Creek, Jim Parsons for Hollywood. It's weird to see Jim Parsons and not just the Big Bang Theory next to it. I'm not so used to it.
Can you just read my mind there, actually? Seriously.
Yes.
I was thinking that too.
Well, let's keep in mind, though, it is a Ryan Murphy thing. So it is going to be one of two things, either the Big Bang Theory or a Ryan Murphy thing.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Boys in the band. And Donald Sutherland for The Undoing.
It's a good lineup.
I heard that Donald Sutherland is incredible in The Undoing. I cannot wait to see that performance.
The amount of buzz I've heard about that.
I could touch on Gleason here for just a split second, because like I said, would not want to piss off the world. But when you think of somebody playing him, it's like because it's a completely serious thing. Like it's a completely seriously toned thing. So it's like, how do you portray that without going so cartoonish you completely go off the rails? Somehow, Gleason found a way to where it's like he's got the performance down, but he's cartoonish just enough to where it seems very toned down from reality necessarily. Because it could have been very easy to. I've seen how people react to things lately, so I don't know how to describe him without unleashing that. But what Gleason did was very interesting in how he found a balance of keeping things serious, but it's absolutely clear who he is as well. That makes sense.
That's vague enough. Good job.
I mean, I mean, when I think about the fact that Gleason is playing Trump, I just think back to that scene with Ray Fiennes from In Bruges that involves the C word a lot, and it just fits.
Does this scene involve Fiennes eventually saying, "That's going overboard, man"?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, hail Martin McDonough.
Oh, and I guess we should acknowledge John Boyega as well.
Yeah,
it's great. It's great to see him continue to be great. I remember when Attack the Block came out, and it was like, oh, he's going to be a big deal someday.
To be fair, I'm surprised at that though, because I think there are stronger performances overall, in Lovers Rock and Mangrove.
Do you think this nomination is name based?
Considering
When you think
everything
about
he's been through this year, you know, the fallout from Star Wars and the basically, if my career is over for being in the Black Lives Matter UK protests, so be it.
if you were, yeah, even before Small Axe was a thing, he was in a protest that looks exactly like the one on Small Axe's poster.
Yeah.
I think it's just the governing body that is rode Rise of the Resistance or not being able to ride Rise of the Resistance as much as I have lately, and they just have him straight in their mind right now.
Also, it's interesting, like, looking, like, at least 2 of the 3 films that he's working on, Naked Singularity and their clone Tyrone, are from debut directors. And then oh wow, and he's also working with Jeremy Selenier of Blue Ruin and Green Room fame. Ah.
That would have been more exciting before Hold the Dark, but it's still mildly exciting.
Yeah, I didn't see Hold the Dark. Is that a good thing?
Yeah, there's like 5 different movies going on that, and none of them are great.
I'll leave it at that then.
But it's one story. It's not meant to be 5 different movies, but it basically is.
So on the supporting actress front, unless you've got some comments, no, don't think so.
Nope.
On the supporting actress, we've got 2 for The Crown, Gillian Anderson for her portrayal of Thatcher in The Crown, and Helena Bonham Carter for portrayal of Princess Margaret. Julia Garner's back in here for Ozark, along with Annie Murphy for Schitt's Creek, and Cynthia Nixon for Ratched.
I didn't watch Ratched, but I was a little interested in the concept.
Well, it's Ryan Murphy, so...
Yeah. I saw the trailer, and it was like, that's exactly what I thought it would look like. being Ryan Murphy trying to do the...
I don't want to sound stereotypical, but considering the past, like, 24 months, it just feels like a Sarah Paulson thing.
Yeah, I can't. I am so fucking... You can and throw the prom into this. I am just so fucking tired of Ryan Murphy's style. Actually, I was sick of it by the time season 3 of American Horror Story came out. So you can imagine where I am now with Ryan Murphy.
You know, Ocean's 8 was like meh, Bird Box was meh, Glass was meh, Goldfinch was meh. I completely forgot, or wasn't even... No, I forgot that she was in Abominable as one of the voices. So, you know, it's not like she's had sort of a substantial sort of stuff. And then, of course, she's in, you know, every single season of American Horror Story, like Evan Peters is. For whatever reason. I feel she's doing too much. I know that isn't what you should be wishing on somebody, but I just feel like I'm seeing too much of her, in all honesty.
Yeah, it's like, and by the time you watch Run, it's like she's really good in Run, but she's been doing that for a while now. The unhinged thing.
No other comments. So best performance in the miniseries or TV film on the actor front: Bryan Cranston for Your Honor, Jeff Daniels for The Comey Rule, Hugh Grant for The Undoing, Ethan Hawke for Good Lord Bird, and Mark Ruffalo for I Know This Much Is True.
I hear Cranston's thing is really good, but I haven't looked at it yet.
I have. That's the first I've even heard of it. I guess because the Showtime stuff, I don't know what network it would get like shown in the UK with, if it has.
I feel like I've seen 100 billion YouTube ads for it, but
my only concern is it is an American adaptation of a foreign production. It's an Israeli TV series. What was the thing that Toni Collette was in? It was a TV. Was it Toni Collette? I'm pretty sure that was an Israeli TV series that got converted as well. I'm trying to think what it is. I can't be bothered to look because Owen's probably panicking at us because we're doing this too long and he wants his figs.
They're still there, thankfully.
Oh, good.
They're an hour and a half away, but they're still there.
I will say it's not really surprising that Daniels is here because I feel like Daniels is here for everything he puts out in TV. But
That's
it
fair.
is interesting because it's kind of like what I was talking about with Cohen and Chicago 7, where on paper, Comey seems like he'd be a really juicy role, but Comey just in general, especially when you just watch him, is just kind of a really downplayed person. And that's pretty much where Daniels, like, I was wondering if Daniels was going to, like, liven him up a little bit, but he didn't really. But there's still moments where, like, he's talking to his daughter at one point after, like, the news has come out and, like, the world's about to come down on him. And she says something like, "Did you do the right thing?" or something. And, like, the way he responds to that, like, the tone that he responds to that is, like, you could tell Daniels really found, like, kind of a groove with where to go here, because it could have been really tricky or could have been really bland. But he found something, I think. So it's nice to see him here.
Well, AJ, the way you mentioned that without knowing anything about the actual portrayal or the character at all, it kind of sounds to me like it's David Frost situation.
Yeah. Frost is definitely a more lively character, but that's a pretty, especially with the scenario of the show, that's actually a really good comparison.
Yay. I'm here every once in a while, everyone. Don't worry.
We got Frank Langella back into the conversation again.
Of course.
Now we're just kind of casually killing time until Ashley gets back here to go through the next category. And we're trying so hard to make it sound like that's not what's happening right now, but that's totally what's happening right now.
Once again, what's going to happen is Ashley's going to return and he's going to find out that he has to go to Smith's right now and get me a UK exclusive Cody Rhodes figure with a AEW ring to make up for the time that we're spending here on the show.
Well, I think we should be able to get through the rest of TV pretty quickly because a lot of it's stuff we touched on with SAG.
Right.
So with some exceptions here and there. So,
but yeah, if you're still with us and if you've been with us the entire time as we wait for Ashley to return, thank you for joining us and thank you for being here live in chat. And if you're leaving comments, thank you for that as well. We appreciate you being here for our official return to award season. And we will be doing a lot more of these shows. Like I said, every Saturday we're doing a show. There's not going to really be a schedule per se. I mean, I might post something, it just depends. But yeah, it's going to be like, just keep watching the network here because there's lots of awards coverage which are coming in the very near future. And by the near future, I mean the next 3 months. We're basically going to be doing like constant daily videos when it comes to award season, but we're going to be covering a lot of things as well. So yeah, looking forward to that. But yeah, that's basically what's going on here. So since Ashley's not here, guess what? We're going to move on without him. Supporting actress.
Or will we be on miniseries?
I think we might be. Yeah, because I thought we mentioned that already because it does take a minute to get things done, apparently. Best miniseries or television film. We have Unorthodox from Netflix, as well as The Queen's Gambit from Netflix, Normal People from Hulu, The Undoing from HBO, and Small Axe from Prime Video. Never thought I'd see a category where Amazon Prime, Netflix, and HBO and Hulu would be battling for something, but that's how the world we live in today, apparently.
Yeah, the great thing about this year is there's always the question of like who's distributing what, and it's like this year it's really easy to remember who's distributing what. It's
Because
like, well,
everybody's distributing everything.
and it's just like, well, where were you when you watched it? Like, what thing were you on when you watched it? There you go. That's it.
And if I did it out of order, it's because Ashley was away. Ashley, you're next.
What happened out of order?
I already did the best miniseries or TV film because I want to get television out of the way.
Oh, okay.
I know I did it out of order. That's just what I had next. So
Yeah.
I'm really not familiar at all with Normal People or Unorthodox.
Oh, I can tell you about Normal People. It's like on the level of I May Destroy You, except Normal People got recognized, which is bullshit. Yeah, Unorthodox. I mean, it's weird because it's Netflix's sort of foreign language because it's primarily in Yiddish because it's obviously about the Unorthodox sort of church.
that makes sense.
Which I think that got the I think it won the Emmy for miniseries. I think, but obviously, Small Axe Undoing and Queen's Gambit weren't there at the time, so it mixes that stuff up. So on the actress front for miniseries or TV, we have Cate Blanchett for Mrs. America, Daisy Edgar Jones for Normal People, Shia Haas for Unorthodox, Nicole Kidman for The Undoing, and Anya Taylor-Joy for The Queen's Gambit. I'm still wondering where Michaela Cole and I May Destroy You is, as are a lot of people.
I thought that kind of seemed to be because obviously there's going to be outrage no matter what. But I saw that was particularly singled out as a what the fuck exclusion.
Well, I'm trying to think. Like, when Metacritic compiled everybody's top 10 list for television, it was on average number 1. So the fact it didn't appear anywhere, and the added confusion is, this is obviously the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. So it's international media that are basically based out of America. In which case, normally the international media tries to champion the international shows, like I May Destroy You. And in the miniseries stuff, there is a lot of that as well. But the fact that, like, I know it probably doesn't apply because it's obviously a female character for that, but the fact that there's 3 Showtime shows for miniseries or TV film, of which technically Comey Rule is like a 3.5 hour 2-part movie. That isn't a miniseries, that's a long duo series or whatever. To be fair, I probably wouldn't. Although it's a good performance of Cate Blanchett, I'd probably take that out because there's as an ensemble, I think Mrs. America's pretty strong, although it didn't make it in. And again, with Normal People, I'd say if you have the Daisy Edgar Jones in for her role, not having. I can't remember the male actor's name. I'm going to have a quick look. Paul Mescal in for the actor side, because it's basically about their whole relationship and everything. Plus Normal People's directed by Lenny Abramson, so we're biased because of the Frank connection and Room.
It's not even acknowledged Room. It's Frank.
Hey, it's proof that Michael Fassbender does stuff other than I love the fact that all last year Fassbender was just driving sports cars, like in actual competitive races, because he couldn't do movies. Fair play to the man. It's a strong list. I haven't seen Unorthodox because it's Netflix, and same with Queen's Gambit. But I've heard enough buzz about them to sort of understand it. But I'm surprised that it didn't get at least somewhere, either in terms of miniseries or TV film or actress. Plus, if it ever... I vaguely remember... Was it Big Little Lies that was up for miniseries or TV movie? In the first season and won? And then, of course, they did the second series, so then it's like, well, does that make it ineligible? Shouldn't it have won the previous time? I fear that's what could happen with the Queen's Gambit. They might find some way to just do a second season because it's Netflix. Speaking of, I'm doing this in a specific order because the snub relates to musical or comedy, arguably. Because people were like, why is there no recognition for Michaela Cole in any shape or form? Yet, in musical or comedy actress in a TV series, we have Catherine O'Hara for Schitt's Creek. Yeah. Jane Levy for Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. I guess, yeah, but I haven't seen it. Ellie Fanning for The Great, considering it matches with SAG. Probably, yeah. Katie Croco for Flight Attendant. Again, there's some things. And then there's Lily Collins for Emily in Paris. The thing that was absolutely shat on by critics, yet apparently the Hollywood Foreign Press critics loved it. Huh?
There's obviously something, because remember, she also got in for Rules Don't Apply. She has a way of bullshitting her way into the Globes. And I feel like I should have interest in this because the character Emily that she plays, apparently a lot of people are comparing to Emily Charlton. But it's like, while that shit completely piqued my interest, I'm about as interested in Lily Collins as I am jumping into a piranha tank, for instance. So I don't know how she keeps finding her way in here, but she's really... it makes sense that she's in Mank. I feel nothing towards Lily Collins either.
Well, she's got the invisible touch. Although apparently, the fact that the pilot episode, if you want to call it that, has her finishing with plugging in a vibrator and accidentally short-circuiting the block's power. Now I'm just figuring Genesis is turn it on again, just because of her dad. And, you know.
I got distracted because isn't that a joke in Just Married with Ashton Kutcher and Brittany Murphy?
If it is,
like of all the things.
If it is, thanks Net. Oh, now I understand. I shouldn't have looked at Netflix. I looked at the production company and it said MTV Studios. Now it makes sense as to why it's crap. So yeah. The other four probably deserve to be on that list. Anything to do with Emily in Paris, I don't get. Because, hang on. Critical response. Wait, somehow it got an average on Rotten Tomatoes of 63%. What? Oh god, are people actually saying if it's so bad and it's good? Oh no. Oh no. Sorry, I went down the rabbit hole. I don't want to... Stay away. Right, actor in a TV series, musical or comedy. I can like this because there's no Emily in Paris, because that's how good the male characters are in it. Sorry, that's how good any of the other characters are in it, because Lily is the only nomination. So on the actor front, Don Cheadle for Black Monday, Nicholas Hoult for The Great, Eugene Levy for Schitt's Creek, Jason Sudeikis for Ted Lasso, and Rami Youssef for Rami. So pretty similar to the SAGs, but Don Cheadle making it in for Black Monday. Which I don't know what it's about, because all I can think of is Black Mirror. And then I have to remember that Charlie Brooker gave us Death to 2020, which was more like Death to 2020. Oh, it's actually its second season. It's not a new show. I was not aware of
It's
this.
about when the stock market crashed in 1987.
I was not aware of this because, again, it must be just because it's Showtime. Nobody over here knows what to do with Showtime and put it on their television, even if it might be good.
It's Goldberg and Rowan. Take a shot. Rogan.
Yeah. Well,
so they're the ones that executive produced it.
Yeah. And Regina Hall is producing as well.
Yep.
As well as starring in it, so, you know. And the third season is coming later this year as well, so I don't want to say it's not got much chance because it's got another season, and it just seems to be, you know, Schitt's Creek because it's the end. And
like we're spending a lot of time on the comedy category for what's essentially going to be the Schitt's Creek sweep.
More than I'd have thought so, because of course I think in this one last year it went to Rami, didn't it?
I believe so.
I think.
Nice. Yeah, he won something.
Yeah.
Oh God.
It certainly wasn't the Emmy, so it must have been one of the others. It was either that or a SAG, I can't remember, but yeah. And then in terms of musical or comedy itself, Emily and that one, The Flight Attendant, The Great, Schitt's Creek, and Ted Lasso. Even though it's probably going to be Schitt's Creek because final season. More than likely.
These nominations, by the way, I saw scattered ads here and there. These nominations were how I learned that The Great is a comedy.
Yeah, that is a fair point because it seems like such a historical thing. You guess it's just like a period. I wouldn't say period drama, but sort of like I guess.
It's like I don't know. If I were to say I'm getting the favorite vibe,
I was gonna say.
I don't know if that's like the vibe itself or just the presence of whole.
It's probably the publicity, because it does seem sort of avant-garde with the way that they've sort of been presenting it, which is very favourite.
Well, I will just say that it's nice to hold here, but
it's very Yorgos. That used to be a term.
Yeah, it's nice.
Go ahead,
if Holt's not playing Robert Harlan, I don't care though.
Wow, that just happened. So, just double checking if there's any comments. I just noticed Bry Guy mentioning that the SAG nominations. Yeah, Lily Collins did the SAG nominations with Daveed Diggs. Did Daveed Diggs announce himself for the SAGs?
She announced him.
Oh, okay. Was she hoping that he'd announce her? And it was like, oh wait.
If you watch her face when he goes through Actress in a Comedy series, maybe I'm imagining it, but I'm pretty sure you can see her face kind of drop, and then she gets really congratulatory towards everybody else.
So then on the drama categories, we have Jason in the actor side. Jason Bateman for Ozark, Josh O'Connor for The Crown, Bob Odenkirk for Better Call Saul, Al Pacino for Hunters, and Matthew Rhys for Perry Mason.
Hasn't Hunters been killed already?
No. I mean, it got a very mixed reception, but I believe it's still technically scheduled for a second season, and I haven't heard anything since. I don't know.
It was renewed for a second season in August of last year.
Yeah, but I haven't heard anything since. I guess obviously because of the COVID restrictions and everything, basically leading to not really being able to do anything. So it is still technically a thing, but
it's nice to see they're keeping up the trend of nominating Odenkirk and then otherwise shunning Better Call Saul for some reason.
Well, I'm pretty sure he isn't the only good thing in that series. I mean, if it's been going as long as it has.
They got Jonathan Banks, they got Giancarlo Esposito, they got Ray Seahorn, they got the show itself in series, and it's never there. It feels like.
I'm trying to think whether that's another one that's finished, or is it still?
They've got their last season is like caught up in like COVID delays, but they're working on the next one will be the last one.
Okay, so that's when it will win.
Sixth and final season, only 13 episodes, is scheduled to air sometime in 2021.
Right. So that's when it will win. So I'm intrigued. That's a pretty open field. Because I'd like to. Did Ozarks? Is Ozarks finished, or is that another one that's somehow getting another season? No. There we go. Series renewed.
I think they have one more coming.
Yeah, June 2020, the season was renewed for a fourth and final season, which consists of 14 episodes over 2 parts. So it's Game of Thrones. Okay. So that can't win. I guess Josh O'Connor then, because he's not going to show up. Because he'll be somebody else in Series 5.
We'll get to predictions next week.
No, yeah, but it seems a very, like... I'm surprised Pacino, because of the reception that Hunters did get.
It's Pacino, Ashley. Come on.
So, where's Meryl? Knew
you were going to go there. We'll get to that in about 2 hours when we get to movies.
She's like
so it's okay.
She's like the opposite of Voldemort. She who must be named.
Then the Netflix award for actress. Plus BBC America.
Yeah. I'm surprised that isn't like on an international deal with Netflix. So yeah, Olivia Colman for The Crown, and Emma Corrin for The Crown as well. Oh, is Diana gonna beat Queen Elizabeth again? Jodie Comer for Killing Eve. Laura Linney for Ozark, and Sarah Paulson for Ratched. It says a lot that Jodie is recognised for Killing Eve, but the series isn't in. Because I don't think Series 3 was as strong as the first 2 was. I mean, there might be a reason why Series 3 wasn't strong. Because, the Season 2 showrunner was busy with another film. Can you tell me what that film was, Owen?
No.
I think you can, considering it's the only film that you've seen.
There was no need to say it, because it's already been said numerous times. Continue.
So yeah, relating to the TV series, Crown, Lovecraft Country, again, gets recognition when it didn't get anything else. Mandalorian, same. Ozark and Ratched. So yeah, only one of them is actually on television. Actually, looking at it, out of all 10 in musical and comedy or drama, Only 2 of them are television. One's on Pop TV and the other's on HBO. The rest is all on demand, be it Netflix or Apple TV Plus or HBO Max or Hulu.
It's craziness.
They keep saying is television dead, and it's like, well, yes, look how much of it's on demand. I mean, technically, even Small Axe was on demand, at least in America. It was just added to Prime Video rather than... Obviously, over here in the UK, it was broadcast week after week, as was Normal People, so... But, I don't know. I'm pleased to see Lovecraft Country in there, though, with the buzz that I did hear for, I think it's season... Yeah, the first season. I wasn't sure if it was the second. So now on to the movies, so Owen pays attention. Oh yeah, let's start with the other controversy. Best foreign language film. Another Round from Denmark. La Llorona from Guatemala. The Life Ahead from Italy. Two of Us from France. And Minari from America.
How is this a thing? Seriously.
Well, because they do it by foreign language and not foreign film, or film not in the... Well, no, because even... Is it foreign film again at the Oscars? Or is it... Because for a time it was filmed not in the English language, right? I think. Or something like that.
That's what BAFTA called it.
Oh, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Minari is an American film, but it's in the foreign stuff because they're speaking too much Korean. That was the controversy from 3 months ago.
And on top of it's one thing that it's that, but then the fact that it being in foreign now disqualifies it from picture at the Globes because that's their weird rule for some reason.
As well, yeah.
This was just a full-on Minari hit job. That's what this was.
Yeah. I swear, it's probably like with Parasite last year. If this is going to be 2 straight years where, because of their uppityness, they've refused to basically recognise the film that maybe goes on to win the Oscar, because we can't definitively say that with Minari because it's not April the 28th. But if they do that 2 straight years, it's literally going to be like, we're going to have to make up some rules, guys. Because, these foreign films are actually getting good. They're like, they're ones where it's like, we can't ignore them anymore. We can't just put them in the sort of, the nice little bit in the corner category. Which is good. I've heard good stuff for another round. The problem with La Llorona is all I think of is that stupid bloody... Curse of La Llorona was the knockoff of Paranormal Activity, right? From what I remember. Was it found footage?
I just think it's the house.
It's supposed to be in the Conjuring universe.
Oh, that was it.
The one you're talking about. This one I hear is like technically horror, but much more of a drama. So it's like significantly more interesting.
Well, you know the story of La Llorona, do you not?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that this would be a drama, honestly, if they play it that way.
And that it would be supernatural.
Yes.
Although, wow, I'm looking at the languages of this because it's Guatemalese, it's in Spanish, but also in 2 different types of Mayan. We're going that. I like that. We've got some Mayan chanting. Apocalypto is real. Of course,
it's a good house, by the way. Halloween Horror Nights 23.
Life Ahead, of course, is the, I guess, the resurgence of Sophia Loren, if we can call it that. And then Two of Us is somewhat new to me. I don't know whether it's France's... It is France's entry for Best International Feature. and it's got a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, so that seems pretty impressive. Best animated feature film. Oh, this is interesting. The Croods: A New Age. I have to laugh at that because the release for that film over here is June. Great timing. Then also Onward, which I keep forgetting came out within the 12-month period. Over the Moon, Soul, and Wolfwalkers. Yay!
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy for me to remember Onward because Onward was the last movie I saw in a theater a year ago next month. I mean, I keep hearing amazing things about Wolfwalkers.
Oh yeah. Well, it's keep in mind it's from the same people that did Secret of Kells and Song of the Sea, and it's the same art style. And I'm pretty sure both.
Yeah, you can tell by what I've seen.
I'm pretty sure both of them got recognition when they came out like 10 years ago and like 5-6 years ago. So. Apparently, it's a sort of Irish folklore trilogy. So it's basically like the Cornetto trilogy. That they're loosely related, I guess. My only problem is Soul's probably winning this by default. Even though it never actually opened in cinemas over here. I mean, to be fair, it never had a chance to.
Jazz music.
I had to look up. What was that?
It's going to be a good season for jazz music.
La La Land got it right. It was just a few years behind.
I had to look up Over the Moon, and apparently it's something that's just hanging out on Netflix, but I don't really know what it is still.
Well, I mean, looking into it, it's the American Chinese.
I'm getting straight up Delgo vibes looking at the poster.
Well, no, it's Pearl Studio, so it's basically the same It's the same quote unquote Chinese studio that did Abominable, except this time it's not with DreamWorks. It's with Sony Pictures instead.
Got an interesting cast,
which is mainly Asian as well.
Right.
They haven't tried to sort of put Asian-looking characters and put Western voices to them. Because I vaguely remember, at least in Abominable, the sort of main characters looking slightly Asian, but was voiced by Chloe. Chloe. Okay, so her actually name is Chloe Wang. I take it back. I'm an idiot. Oh wait, Eddie Izzard was in it. Then again, he was supposed to be British, so I guess that's the stereotype. But yeah, I just like the fact that Croods is in there, despite the fact that we're not going to see it until the summer. Great job. And it already came out like Thanksgiving.
And it's so America. Clearly we needed a fifth watchers.
Until we get to the other categories and it ends up slinking in somehow, some way. Like a movie does every single year that doesn't make any sense.
Best original song.
Best original song.
Yes. Fight for You from Judas and the Black Messiah. Hear My Voice from Trial of Chicago 7. Scene from The Life Ahead, because it's Diane Warren. Speak Now for One Night in Miami. And Tigress and Tweed from United States versus Billie Holiday. The Life Ahead song is
I don't remember what they sound like off the top of my head, but those are some generic ass song titles. These are the kind of songs that get nominated kind of titles.
Well, Well, US versus Billie Holiday is obviously, it's Andra Day who's playing Billie Holiday, so that's the sort of big thing. It's probably the same with Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami.
Yeah.
Uh,
I do. What I just said about them sounding very generic. Tigress and Tweed need not apply. That's pretty stands out.
well, if you want to, if you can't spell generic without Diane Warren, with the amount of nominations that she's had in here for sort of like films that don't get anything other than song, except this one has Sophia Loren, so it might win. So it might get nominated for something other than song. The amount of stuff she's written and everything is like redonkulous. I vaguely remember the song from Trial of Chicago 7 because that's the only one that I've seen yet. I need to catch up on One Night in Miami. And I don't know what the schedule is, at least in the UK, for Judas and the Black Messiah. But yeah, that's a pretty good. I'd say a pretty good list, but I don't know the gist of like much of the song stuff. Then we get to Best Original Score, where Nine Inch Nails are against themselves, because Reznor and Ross are nominated for Mank. However, along with John Batiste, they're also nominated for Soul, along with James Newton Howard for News of the World, Alexander Desplat for Midnight Sky. Wait, what's that? Oh, that's George Clooney's film. Again, did that even come out in the UK yet? I don't know. And Ludwig Göransson for Tenet. Yes, Tenet got nominated for something. Hold your hats.
The only thing I really care about in this category is somebody needs to give John Batiste a fucking Oscar because he is damn near the star of Soul.
Oh, that's why I didn't see it. It got shoved on Netflix. So it probably is there, but I can't see it. So I'm trying to. I can't be bothered to look, but I think that's like, is that the 6th or 7th straight year that Desplat is in? Whether he's won or not yet.
And I think there's been a couple of instances where he's been double nominated.
2019, 2018, 2017. Oh, he missed out on 2016. But then 2015, 2014, missed 2013, 2012, 2010. So, I need to probably look up now and see what film he's doing in 2021 and suddenly call it as if to say, isn't it obvious that he was going to win for doing the score for... Oh, wait, he's doing the score for Del Toro's Pinocchio? Sign me the fuck up. Best Screenplay. Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman. Jack Fincher for Mank. Aaron Sorkin for Trial of the Chicago 7. Florian Zeller and Christopher Hampton for The Father. And Chloe Zhao for Nomadland.
Not that I'm saying that's going to happen here, but let us never forget when Sorkin won this for Steve Jobs and then got snubbed entirely.
I mean, surely in theory, the dream is The Father. Because it would... I probably wouldn't break the record, but it'd be close to being one of the big records in terms of longest run between Oscar wins. Because, of course, he won for Dangerous Liaisons back in 88.
88.
And all of a sudden, he made it in again. Then, of course, let's hope that Jack Fincher wins it and he gets up on stage. That's what...
How can you be so cruel?
I still find it weird that it's actually credited as his dad's script. you know, because obviously I don't know. I haven't looked into the details about how much work was done changing it, you know, into what we actually get in the film. Because I say to some extent it'd have to be somewhat adjusted.
You would think surely, because Jack Venture died in what 2003 or something.
Let me have a quick check.
I was thinking it was like a long ass time ago.
Yeah, April 2003. Best director. 4 of the 5 are the same, sort of. So we've got Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman, David Fincher for Mank, Regina King for One Night in Miami, Aaron Sorkin for Trial of the Chicago 7, and Chloe Zhao for Nomadland. Was this the same last year? In that 4 and the 5 were writers as well as directors? I know it's been somewhat recent, where it's practically been the same. I want to say last year because obviously you had Tarantino and Bong.
2017 would have been like that.
Yeah.
With Gerwig and Peele and McDonough and Del Toro and
yeah,
whoever the first one was.
The other one.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
I'd still say it's, you know, it's a strong list. First time ever that 3 women have made it in. And I'm trying to remember, wasn't the scandal last year that there was no women in Best Director? At least for the Globes.
That was also, it was definitely 2017, because 2017 was when Natalie Portman made it off.
Yeah.
Word.
Hang on, I need to. Yeah, no, because last year was Sam Mendes, Martin Scorsese, Todd Phillips, Quentin, and Bong. Yeah, the last time. Jesus, how far am I going in this list to find a woman in the Ava DuVernay in 2014 was the last woman for. Anyway, if I have a quick look. So, supporting actor in a motion picture. We've got Sacha Baron Cohen for Trial of Chicago 7, Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, Jared Leto for Little Things, Bill Murray for On the Rocks, and Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami.
Well, before somebody corrects me, I was sitting here trying to do the math, trying to figure it out where I fucked up. Yeah, I keep forgetting Madonna got snubbed at the Oscars for fucking 3 billboards.
Yeah.
I've been trying to ignore it since, but yeah. But anyway,
the supporting actor, I'd say the supporting actor. I mean, the only one I guess I'd question is Bill Murray.
Yeah, I kept hearing buzz about him the whole time, but I didn't even think he would get this far, quite honestly, because I thought the movie was just going to drop off the radar entirely. But there he is. I mean, the movie works. I mean, he and Leto are the same thing. The movie only works as well as it does because of him.
Mm-hmm.
Like the scene in On the Rocks where they get stopped by the cops and he like talks their way out of it. The whole movie should have just been like a series of vignettes like that, rather than I think Marlon Wayans is cheating on me.
I mean, did you see it in 50 Shades of Black? If they did something weird like that and just go like David Lynch, like, you know, or Charlie Kaufman style 4th, 5th, 6th wall, that would have been. And then supporting actress. Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy, Olivia Colman for The Father, Jodie Foster for The Mauritanian, Amanda Seyfried for Mank, and Helena Zengel for News of the World. Do I have to say it Mank because every time I've seen it, it's had like an exclamation mark afterwards?
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the same page as everybody else. When I saw Foster's movie and when I saw music and stuff like that, kind of somewhat Rosamund Pike's movie. I'd kind of seen something for it in like the last, few days or so, but I just kept hearing the nominees and just kept saying, "What the fuck is that? What is that? I don't know what the fuck that is."
I didn't even wow. So it's directed by Kevin McDonald, but it's also produced by Cumberbatch. Oh, and he's actually in it as well.
I think Cumberbatch is in it as well.
Yeah, he is in it as well. And Tahar Rahim, that most people are just acknowledging at the minute for his role in The Serpent, and not this. Probably because it isn't. I think it's coming out. Yeah, by the looks of it, it's coming out from Styx, Friday, and then it comes out at the end of February in some shape or form in the UK. I love it with all these films, and it's like they're coming out like between now and March, even though the lockdown over here might not be going on until sort of the 8th. So it's like, so are you that desperate for people in the cinema to see it who may not be keen to go out to cinemas? Or do you want to actually make money by putting it, online just for people to buy, or premium buy, or whatever you want to call it? So I'm intrigued.
Right.
So then we need to split off again. So we'll start with the musical and comedy stuff. Oh god, and then I have to start with this. So, best actor in musical or comedy: Sacha Baron Cohen for Borat subsequent movie film. James Corden. God, I had to pause over for The Prom. Lin-Manuel Miranda for Hamilton. Dev Patel for Personal History of David Copperfield. And Andy Samberg for Palm Springs. Look, if
Palm Springs is another one of those things in the Mank category. I watched it when it was put out, but I never felt anything towards Palm Springs. I didn't really get what the huge deal with that was.
Ambivalent AJ again. What? Imagine if like Palm Springs and Mank just won everything at the awards. You'd just be like one emotion throughout the entire ceremony.
It's like the face that Squidward makes when he says, "Does this look unsure to you?" would be my face through the whole thing.
Oh, and you might as well mention it because then it will let me flow. Although I don't think I have to flow because nearly everybody that reviewed the film said the same thing. His performance wasn't that good, so I don't even have to rant. Other people have already done it for me.
I thought the later parts with his mom were done a lot better than I thought they would be, but that's as far as I can take it.
Oh, okay. Owen's just not saying anything. He's just letting me.
So
he was expecting a rant, and it's not really coming because other people did it for me.
I'm assuming, would it be, because obviously we're talking movies and not TV, would it be some sort of record if Owen won a Globe twice for the same character?
That'd be.
I can't think of an idea where that would have happened.
I honestly can't see any other competition for him except for Miranda, legitimately.
Which, of course, I would love to see.
Right. So it's got to be either of those two, and if it's anybody else, I'm going to be severely shocked, honestly.
Have you managed to catch David Copperfield yet, AJ?
I haven't. I know how to watch it. I just haven't yet.
Right. I think that's... Don't count that one out. Count the hell out of Corden. But don't count Death Patel out. I think he does a very good role in a very good adaptation, interpretation, however you want to call it, of Copperfield. Plus, there's an actress in there that gets no recognition here in a film which I think might be getting a lot of Oscar buzz. Not Oscar buzz, BAFTA buzz. If it get nominated in the Oscars, holy shit. It's weird that they pay attention. On the actress front, Maria Bakalova for Borat's subsequent movie film. Kate Hudson for music. Oh, look, it's another one. Michelle Pfeiffer for French Exit. What is that? Rosamund Pike for I Care a Lot.
The one with her and Lucas Hedges.
What is that? Anya Taylor-Joy for Emma. Oh, one I know about. I need to now look up this French Exit and the other one.
I think it's weird to think right now that the battle in musical and comedy is literally between Borat and Hamilton. And I'm not talking about like contention. I'm talking about for the win. And I never thought I'd say that, but it's happened. So.
Oh, okay. So.
Again, no real competition either way. So.
French Exit is from the screenwriter who also wrote the book, but also wrote the book of the Sisters Brothers. Okay. I don't think Sisters Brothers was as surreal as... I mean, there was some quirky stuff in it. That's probably why Jake Gyllenhaal picked it up, because he likes quirky. You know, his Dr. Mysterio was pretty quirky. And then... I Care a Lot. Oh. It'll be streaming in most countries either through Netflix or Prime Video, depending on the region. Please let it be the UK over here. Oh, hang on. Okay, now I'm confused because it says Prime Video has rights. Oh no, there we go. And the UK through STX. What? STX doesn't have a streaming service. I won't be able to see it. The bastard. So I guess the big thing here is the music issue, which I guess we might as well roll into with the musical or comedy category, because of course we have, and I'll do it for AJ's sake, Borat's subsequent movie film delivery a prestigious bribe to American regime for make benefit once glorious nation of Kazakhstan. Hamilton. Music. Palm Springs and the prom. So yeah. There's 3 films in this, and there's also the prom and music. I just find it a bit... I do find it a bit idiotic to do a film about somebody that's autistic and not putting somebody that's autistic in the role. And, you know, and supposedly when they did try and find somebody autistic for the role, you know, they couldn't cope with the schedule, so they went with somebody else instead. Is it because the film had to be out or something? I find it weird.
I feel like music in general is just a Rubik's cube we don't need to try to solve. We'll just let it.
It's a very Sia,
because it's gonna fade from the.
It's very much a Sia thing, as in it's just Sia under the wig. Never think about anything else. Just to think of the wig persona, not when she's had to be unveiled as basically herself. Then again, at least in terms of musical singers directing their own things, at least it's better than whatever the hell bloody Madonna did with WE. Please tell me that was eligible for musical comedy. Because if it wasn't, it should have been.
The song got nominated.
No, but the film itself was a comedy, right? Because it was that bad.
It's the reason we had to acknowledge it.
Yeah. You know, like Diana. Diana, she was so proud about that when the BBC started asking questions about, you know, some of the situations, they literally cut the interview like off about 4 minutes into the 10-minute slot. So, because it was that much of a mess. So then on the drama front, for actor, we have Riz Ahmed, Chadwick Boseman. Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anthony Hopkins for The Father, Gary Oldman for Mank, and Tahir Rahim for The Mauritanian.
It just feels like another 4 in and one to figure out who the 5th slot's going to be at this point, just by reading what we've seen so far.
Mm-hmm. Should say it's fair. On the actress front, arguably the same, because we have Viola Davis. We for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. We have Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of a Woman. We have Frances McDormand for Nomadland, and we have Kerry Mulligan for Promising Young Woman. And then the 5th is Andra Day for US versus Billie Holiday. It's always interesting because of the eligibility being the end of February, of course, for all these films. At least I think at least for the Oscars, I think it's end of February, isn't it? I think the films have to be released.
Something like that.
Be in contention.
Yeah, it's like the 25th or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because of all that, we're having to announce nominations for films that people haven't seen yet. Which is the complication.
I think that's kind of the Globe's way anyway.
Well, no, because we always had the Globe nominations like 5th or 6th of January, you know, very first week. But nearly always because most of the American awards have the cut-off of the year, which obviously got adjusted because of the COVID stuff. This is the first time in quite a while we've had the Golden Globes with some of the films haven't been released in any shape or form yet, other than sort of at premieres, and to get recognition like this, rather than in theory everybody being able to see them. And then for drama motion picture, we have Father, Mank, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, and Trial of the Chicago 7.
It is interesting how hard they went for The Father.
I'm hoping that once you see it, considering all the buzz that I've heard about it, you'll understand why it's in there. But in all honesty,
because obviously I'm upset about something that was excluded entirely by the Globe, which is really interesting since his daughters are partaking in the ceremony. That's not awkward at all.
Oh. Shenanigans.
Yeah, so we were trying to figure out, was it like you hear that and it's like, oh, that means they really loved the Five Bloods. They must have really, really loved it. And it's like, oh no, maybe it was just to soften the blow or something.
I mean, to be fair, if I want to look through the whole list of them, I think all 5 dramas should be in the Oscar shortlist, depending how many films that's going to be this year. There's none there that I feel are just bench warmers. If anything, the most bench warmer of the lot, I'd say, is Nomadland, because although there was a lot of hype for that, it sort of died down. Whereas the other 4 seem to be either building hype or sort of staying at the same hype. So it'll be interesting to see.
My main takeaway from all these nominations is I think that the Delroy Lindo thing is what pisses me off the most.
Yeah.
Because that's something that needs to be fixed very, very soon by. Well, if Spike Lee's not even on the long list for BAFTA, you won't even worry about that. So he's gonna have to like Tom Hardy his way in, or Tommy Lee Jones his way in, whichever your precursor person is of the person that didn't get jack shit and then managed to find their way in. And there is an open slot, so they better make the fucking right choice. Is all I'm saying. So. Is that it?
That's the list of all the Globes. And in terms of the calendar of like what we've got sort of coming up, because I might as well say this now, Owen, rather than keep doing it every week and just getting it out of the way. So
Right.
Monday is the Critics' Choice this week. Tuesday is actually the Oscars shortlist, so that'll be pretty much all the tech categories, won't it? Or some of them. So like
The shorts.
Song, the shorts, documentary I think gets a shortlist. Score I think gets
usually
a shortlist.
Visual effects.
Yeah, VFX gets a shortlist as well. The WGAs get announced on the 16th of February. So I'm scrolling through the list. That's nominations. That's awards ceremony. Okay, PGA announces the theatrical motion picture nominees on the 8th. BAFTA nominations on the 9th of March. Then the 5 theatrical feature films nominees for the DGAs and the first time feature DGAs happen. The SAGs are on the 14th of March, with the Oscars the day after on the 15th. Wow. Has the Oscars always... No, the Oscars has been Monday, hasn't it? Like, I think last year was a Monday, wasn't it? Because I just remember the Oscars being a Tuesday one time, somewhat recently, off the top of my head.
We'll do live reactions for those as well.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the Writers Guilds are on the 21st of March. The 24th is the Producers Guild. Oh, so they're doing it on a yeah, they're doing it on a Wednesday. Great. We'll do that some other time. The Directors Guild Awards are on the 10th, so on the Saturday, with the BAFTAs on the 11th. I'm guessing that'll be those wrapped into one, I'm guessing, Owen?
We'll figure it out.
Because I don't know whether the DGAs are broadcast. Plus, there won't be much to talk about. And then Independent Spirits on the 24th. And the Oscars... No, 22nd. Great. Thanks for updating that screen daily. And the Oscars on the 25th. And then for some reason they're mentioning that the museum public opening is on the 30th. So it's a somewhat busy week with PGAs, BAFTAs... Oh, sorry, not BAFTAs. Yeah. The Oscar shortlists and the Critics' Choice. Plus, as Owen said, our Golden Globes predictions will be going in. The chart will begin to be filled.
Saturday, we'll start our predictions.
It'll be weird.
So before we go anywhere...
how are we going to do I guess we're just going to have to do on the spot predictions because we haven't been able to do the sort of month by month. I guess we're just going to go for are we going to try and put in the Oscar predictions before the Golden Globes get announced? So there is sort of mystery.
No.
Oh, okay.
The way the calendar works, it's not possible to do it that way.
Okay.
We'll figure it out. I said that we'd have Saturday shows. We will have to have shows in between as well, just because of the way the calendar rolls.
Yeah. No, for sure.
I will not end the show without mentioning all the things Bry Guy has said. So this is what we call rapid fire. It's called International Feature at the Oscars.
Yeah.
The nominations ballot for International Feature is open to everybody to vote for, not just the international branch. No Shaun the Sheep movie, Fartmageddon. Breadwinner as well, which is Cartoon Saloon, is the Irish animation studio that made those 3 films, and Wolfwalkers. Glenn Keane is the director of Over the Moon. He did Dear Basketball.
Ah.
Of course, Diane Warren won for Burlesque at the Globes. He's not seen Nomadland, but AJ, the question is, what does Chloe do directing-wise that stands out other than the one-take aspect of the cinematography?
I think it's just the way, like, the whole communities feel so lived in, and the way she just kind of took the really natural approach to it. Like it's showy by not being showy, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, Palm Springs, another confusing movie for AJ. Talking about the WE Masterpiece song winning the award, and after watching it months ago, Anthony Hopkins is supporting in Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. But
yeah.
In all honesty, yeah.
That's just how fucking good
honest,
he is.
Let's be honest, the best supporting performance of Hannibal Lecter in any film is, of course, Manhunter. Puts Hopkins' production in the shade. I do
love Brian Cox's, but I mean,
yeah, but in Agada de Vida, why didn't they play the full 17 minutes in the film? Oh wait, it's not a David Lynch film. It's a Michael Mann film. Then again, he did Heat, which had a 15-minute gun scene, which most directors would have done in about 6. So, you know, maybe that was the long stuff.
All right, so that's going to be your show for today. Thank you for joining us on your Saturday afternoon or evening, depending on where you are. In some places, Saturday morning or a morning somewhere down the line, for if you're watching this in archive. Thank you for everyone that's been in live chat tonight. We really appreciate you guys returning to us. Since we've been gone for a minute, it's nice to have you guys and girls out there back again. So thank you again for checking out Popcast Network when it comes to our awards coverage. And there'll be a lot more videos still to come next Saturday. Time to be announced, I say probably 7, 8 o'clock, maybe. I say between 6 and 8, somewhere in that time frame should be our official Popcast for the predictions for the Golden Globes. And of course, we'll go live after the Golden Globe ceremony on that subsequent Sunday, and we're going to discuss what happened on the award show. And then, of course, I'll get up at the crack of dawn to work the next day like we always do. So, yeah. Lots of cool things coming in the near future from Popcast Network. Obviously, we're going to continue Voices of Liberty as we move on through our next festival. We're going from one to another. We've had the Disney Songbook for so long, and now we're going to move into Americana. So, yes, it returns in the beginning of March. So those videos are going to be rapid fire coming back. Sip and Snack is going to be back with a vengeance. I've got a lot of things to do there. Ashley's got snack stashes coming up. He's got a lot of gaming content. I don't know if we'll ever get talking about wrestling on this channel again. I guess we'll see somewhere down the line. AJ's movie reviews, of course, returning as always, and Versus is going to be back as well. Videos with and without his brother, depending on the circumstances. And there's going to be a lot of content coming for you guys. So if you were waiting for us to get kicked in the pants and come back full-fledged, it's happened. So you're going to get a lot more content from us that's not taking a month.
You're the poker that we needed. Or that I needed. I literally had to catch up 2 months this year, and thankfully we made it. We're finally on the way, and brand new AJ's movie reviews coming tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Voices of Liberty is going to be Monday through Thursday, Friday video TBA, and Saturday is going to be our Golden Globes predictions. So Ashley, we can find you on social media still at AshesMyNameUK. Yep.
AJ, of course, cannot be found on any form of social media, but if you do want to leave him a comment that he will subsequently answer in a Q&A video somewhere down the line, then you're more than welcome to do so. What'd you say, AJ?
6 years.
That's a shoot. And, of course, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at SirOwenDisney as well. I want to thank you guys and girls out there for joining us today. And in a world where there are a billion people that are talking awards predictions in the month of February, we're glad that you chose to join our coverage versus the rest. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thanks, everyone, for listening. And until literally next week, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.
Hold on. I've got a hold on that. Hang on, what is that? Okay, he's just staying with that, so I'll just transition over to the donkey.
Really? Come on.
Oh no!
Live in the UK.
No, but I have to. By law, I have to end on the donkey because we have to remember. Donkey with headphones.
Listen to the Major Wrestling Figure podcast on the Major Pod Network.
Oh, I keep forgetting where the end stream button is. Professionalism.